Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf, and a wonderful air of expectancy here at Mile High Stadium. Sold out, of course, it always is, but not only because they're going to be watching two legends in the making at quarterback, directing their respective teams, but because this early in the season, these two teams need this football game.
And the usual capacity crowd looks on at Mile High Stadium. Frank mentioned a beautiful evening after a snowy morning. It's chilly, but it's clear. The field is in excellent condition, and Lynn Elliott to kick off for Kansas City with Butler Binote, the rookie from Ohio State, and Jeff Campbell back to receive. Binote, number 28. And Elliott sends one in the altitude down to the goal line. Binote up past the 15, and he's taken down at the 19-yard line by Charles Mincy. John Elway last year statistically was the best of his illustrious career, but this year just 5 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions, 3 of which have been run back for touchdowns. Glenn Milburn and Leonard Russell in the backfield. Russell the big back, over 100 yards last week. Anthony Miller and Tillman the wideouts. Shannon Sharp is the tight end. Zimmerman, Nylander, Wydell, Habib, and Russell Freeman, who's been hurt. He's back in the lineup tonight, the right tackle. From the 19. Elway fakes to Russell, sends him through the line, and then guns one out to the 40-yard line. And it is Shannon Sharp, who's become his favorite target, making the catch. It's a gain of 21. And they work against a Kansas City defense, minus at the outset Derek Thomas. We'll explain in a moment. But here they are, a base 4-3. The great Neil Smith with Phillips, Craig, and a former Bronco, and Mickle. Now the linebackers starting are Jameson, Simeon, and Fields. And the secondary is comprised of Collins and Carter, Whitmore, and White. Derek Thomas is in uniform. There he is. He will play, but he was an hour late for a team meeting yesterday, and as a disciplinary action, he'll be fined and doesn't start. And here is Russell going nowhere. Leonard Russell running into the left side of the Kansas City line, led by Joe Phillips.
Both teams coming in tonight telling you that they have got to get their ground game going. They also have represent defensively two teams weak against the ground game, so one would think that we might see some running tonight.
Well, Kansas City gave up 132 yards to Jerome Bettis a couple of weeks ago. Then Natron Means 125 yards last week in a pair of losses. And you're right, Frank, they have got to stiffen on the line of scrimmage because Leonard Russell is in the same ilk of the other two guys.
On 2nd and 11. Elway gets good protection and goes deep for Sharp, but incomplete. Trailing him on the play was the linebacker George Jameson. Jameson is playing in the spot to be normally occupied by Derek Thomas, but again, Thomas will be out at least at the outset tonight and maybe for the whole first quarter and beyond.
And this is a bold move by Marty Schottenheimer, sitting Derek Thomas out, one of the premier defensive players in the National Football League. And Marty Schottenheimer, a known disciplinarian, and this is quite a stance in an era where lots of things are tolerated nowadays more than in the past. You have to admire Marty for taking this stance.
I wouldn't expect anything else from him either.
No.
3rd and 11 out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. Elway steps up and down he goes. At the 37, there's a marker down. Gerald Williams, number 95. Tackles him behind the line of scrimmage, and the penalty, Jerry Markwright indicates, is against Denver.
Good coverage, not bad protection for John Elway. Just good coverage by the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
Holding, number 64, offense. Penalty is declined, 4th down.
John Nylander with the hold, 64.
Nylander, the starting left guard, didn't get a really good look at it. It wasn't a takedown or anything along those lines. Didn't really matter. Penalty declined. It's a punting situation for Denver anyway.
Tom Ruin to punt. Dane and Hughes back for Kansas City. Short kick. And it's down at the 27-yard line. So only a 36-yard kick. Dale Carter put the pressure on Ruin and nearly got a hand on it. Kansas City led by the Great One in his second year as a Chief. 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in the first 5 games. Marcus Allen and Kimball Andrews in the backfield. We'll also see a lot of Greg Hill, the rookie. Burton and Davis, the wideouts. Derek Walker takes over for the injured Keith Cash at tight end. Alt, Zott, Grunhard, Shields, and Derek Graham in the starting lineup, replacing Ricky Sigler. They try to get a little more push up front and try to upgrade their running game. And this one is dead before it starts. As
looked like Derek Walker, the tight end, might have rocked forward in his stance, Al.
Full start, number 84, offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, he flags Willie Davis, 84, but I don't believe it was Willie Davis.
I think it was Walker, and
yeah.
It's for Walker. Here's a guy who's going to start not only tonight, but probably for the next 2 months.
Derek Walker is number 82, the tight end. There he is to the right of our screen, and he makes the move, and poor Willie Davis gets flagged for it.
Walker, a former Charger.
And a tight end is so important to this Kansas City offense, West Coast offense, whatever you want to call it, directed by Paul Hackett. Keith Cash gone now for several weeks with the bad knee, and Walker will be starting there, but that's a key position in this offense.
On 1st and 15, Marcus Allen looks for room through the middle and brings it out to the 26. It's a gain of 4. 2nd and 11. Elijah Alexander makes the tackle. Up front, Dronette Washington is the former 49er. Williams was their #1 pick last year, and Simon Fletcher, the Sackmeister. Kroll, Mecklenburg, and Alexander are the linebackers. Ben Smith, the former Philadelphia Eagle. Hilliard had a great game against Seattle last week. And then Atwater and Dennis Smith, who wasn't playing, and they signed him before the Buffalo game, and he's working his way back into shape. And there's Mecklenburg, who appeared to be done, and they signed him just before the regular season began. So the veterans are back, but the defense has been porous. And Marcus Allen exploits it for a big gain out to the 36, close to a first. Smith and Alexander make the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Since we last saw Denver up against Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, Dennis Smith has gone back to a free safety position. Steve Atwater has moved back to the strong safety where he was before Dennis Smith came. And they do that primarily because Steve Atwater is one of the fine run defenders. There is Dennis Smith, 14 years, trying to play himself back into shape. But Steve Atwater is expected to make a lot of stops tonight against the run. And that's why he's going back to strong safety.
3rd and 1, 3.5 minutes into the game, no score. Play clock down to 2-1, and they just do get it off, and Montana's throw is incomplete. Good coverage by Ben Smith. Dana Hughes on the sideline, and Ben Smith right there with him, and they're able to hold him. And you'll notice, too, on that last series, Wade Phillips calling the defensive signals. Even though Charlie Waters is the defensive coordinator, Wade is in charge now.
This is a straight out and up by Hughes. You see him break to the outside. It's set up ahead of time, and Ben Smith, quite frankly, just cut him off with a fine defensive play.
Louis Aguiar to punt. It's a beauty. 54 yards. Glenn Milburn brings it back out to the 24.
There's Charlie Waters, the defensive coordinator, talking to his defensive mates down on the field. Charlie's primary responsibility is working with the defensive backs, and those 2 guys there are responsible for Denver's defense, although the man on the left, head coach Wade Phillips, has taken over the responsibilities of calling the defense.
Now here's Leonard Russell on 1st down from the 24. He picks up a couple.
I think Wade felt, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down calling his defense.
2nd and 7. Elway out of the gun, fires wide open is Jerry Evans over the middle. They again had a 2 tight end set. Shannon Sharp on one side, and Evans, who is normally the blocking tight end, on the other. 13-yard gain.
Evans got a couple last week, too. He ordinarily is the blocking tight end for the Broncos, and obviously Kansas City ignoring him, and he comes up with a nice catch.
He only has a couple all year. I think that's number 4 for the entire season for Evans. And that included the big game last week. But that's smart of Denver. If he can catch the ball, throw it to him.
From the 40 on 1st down, here is Russell. A yard, maybe 2, tackled by Joe Phillips with 9:55 to go in a scoreless first quarter.
Speaking of Denver receivers, everyone in Denver is waiting for a very expensive Anthony Miller, the All-Pro from San Diego, unrestricted free agent who caught 84 passes a year ago. He's caught 12 in 5 games with the Broncos and nothing last week. And he is a great receiver with great numbers, and it's just John Elway seems so comfortable with Shannon Sharpe in a clutch situation. There he is. And it's about time that Anthony Miller touched out for the Broncos.
2nd and 9. Let's see if Elway can get it to him. He looks in that direction, and nothing is happening there. So John scrambles and goes out of bounds at the 50-yard line, a little short of the first down. George Jamison was there to make sure he got out.
George Jamison was there trying to remove Mr. Elway's head from his body. And John, a very fortunate and well-timed duck at the last minute. That was the reaction from the Denver crowd. Elway was looking towards Anthony Miller. Now Neil Smith has it contained to this side. Isn't going to get there, but watch Jamison. That's John Elway knows when to get down. And by the way, for those of you that think he doesn't have any speed left, you're wrong. He may not be as fast as he once was, but John Elway can still scoot pretty good. Derek Thomas still in civvies over on the Kansas City sideline. You see the last couple games, no takeaways and no sacks, but that's not necessarily representative of how well he's played. Marty Schottenheimer told us yesterday he's had 4 superb games in a row. But what's missing right now, there's Dan Saliamua, who's also out with a knee sprain, but Kansas City is missing Thomas's speed in chasing Elway.
3rd down and 1 after the KC timeout, and Russell picks up the first down as he takes it to the 44-yard line, tackled by Tracy Simeon.
Well, that time on short yardage, the Bronco line just blew the Kansas City defense away. Straightened them up. Easy first down for Russell. Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, looking on. And there's Jaime Fields. Big opening for Russell.
Pretty evident that the surge had the white-shirted Chiefs moving backwards.
At the 44-yard line. Elway with time and good coverage. Pass right there for Tillman, and Dale Carter leaping up and may have just gotten a piece of it.
If you wonder about Elway's arm, we talked about his speed. You don't have to worry about that. That was just a flick of the wrist. And a good defensive play on the part of Dale Carter. Very athletic right cornerback. #1 draft pick 3 years ago. And last November, he moved to the right corner from the left corner and has become a permanent fixture there now in the newly aligned defense.
2nd down, 10. Glenn Milburn is the sole setback. And it is Milburn angling off the left side to the 41-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 7 with 8 minutes to go. No score, first quarter. Jamison made the last stop along with Gerald Williams. Again, if you joined us late, Derek Thomas was an hour late for a meeting yesterday in Kansas City. There he is. He is in uniform under his warm-up jacket. He will play probably before the half is done, but there's a disciplinary action, a fine, and Fields getting an earful from Schottenheimer as he comes off. 3rd down and 7, and moving on the right side, that's Russell Freeman.
Russell Freeman, one of the question marks for the Broncos tonight. He has a very sore shoulder.
Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
See Jerry Mark right there and how well he is thought of around the NFL. Credit number 90 with this. Great players like Neil Smith just raise that intensity level a little higher on the guy across the line of scrimmage, and that's Freeman just on edge, trying to get out there as quickly as possible to get on Neil Smith. There's Don Maggs, their other offensive tackle, their backup.
Smith knows that Freeman has a sore left shoulder. He took an inside move.
3rd and 12. With Anthony Miller in motion. They have to get to the 34 to convert, and instead it's a sack back at the 47. Neil Smith. Home run.
Again, I mean, there was pressure, but that ball ordinarily would have been released. The 3 receivers had all taken deep routes. Elway had no place to dump it off. And good pressure again from the inside by Neil Smith.
Line of scrimmage is the Denver 47-yard line. Tom Ruin ready to kick for the second time. Danon Hughes is back. Fair catch is called for at the 15-yard line by Danon Hughes.
Well, they say that one of the primary places that your body sheds heat is through the top of your head. Neil Smith giving us a graphic illustration of that as he sits and steams on the Kansas City sideline.
About 40 degrees on our way down to 32 today.
Chiefs have it at the 14 on first down. Marcus Allen looks the room to the outside. Picks up 2, maybe 3. Shane Dronette making the tackle. Second and 8. No score. 6:10 to go. First quarter. Allen again, and the Chiefs just are having a devil of a time with Mecklenburg making the tackle, getting anything going on the ground. 3.3 yards per carry this season. The league average, as we have stated time and again, is normally around 4, though this year it is down at 3.7.
More than that, when you can't run the ball, you get this guy 19 in trouble. Now he's got to take a drop back pass if they're going to think seriously about picking up the yardage, unless they go with the draw because of his sore ribs and other assorted bruises. But the Broncos defense is just going to pin their ears back now and come after 19.
3rd and 7 from the 18-yard line. Willie Davis is in motion. Montana dumps it off for Kimball Anders, who picks up the first down, breaks a tackle, and then Dennis Smith can't ride him down, and he's finally brought down by Ben Smith after a big gain out to the 37. He initially broke Ben Smith's tackle, and then Dennis Smith as well, and takes it all the way out to the 38.
And a good look at the offense that Montana has mastered over the years. He looked to one receiver, looked off at another receiver. The Paul Hackett, of course, the offensive coordinator, high above making the calls. But you saw Montana at his best, looking deep for the wide receiver, knowing all the time that he would have that check off to Kimball Anders. Couldn't find the receiver deep, dumped it off.
19-yard pickup. And this is Greg Hill. The pass a little bit high. Hill is the #1 draft choice of the Chiefs, the rookie from Texas A&M. Very promising guy, and a fellow Schottenheimer wants to get into the lineup a good percentage of the time, maybe half the time.
Well, they need some explosiveness, and that's why you have a #1 draft choice. His biggest problem in being a rookie at running back, Frank, as you well know, is in the pass protection, especially having to protect a fragile quarterback in Joe Montana. The blitz reads and being in the proper position, the hardest part of the game for a rookie running back to grasp.
2nd and 10. This is Greg Hill. Our first look at him as a ball carrier tonight. To the 42 he goes, a pickup of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
He's got a good grasp of that, Dan. He is a slashing type runner, over 3,000 yards in 3 years at Texas A&M. Put up some impressive numbers and was terribly impressive in training camp. The other problem he has in this offense too is the pass patterns themselves. He was not used that much as a pass receiver at the collegiate level. In this type of offense, the Kansas City offense, the 49er offense, whatever you call it, the running back becomes a receiver on pass patterns.
3rd and 5 from the 42-yard line. Great protection. Montana hits Davis, and Willie seeks that first down and appears to have it, as you see the official moving in to mark it up at the 47-yard line.
Boy,
maybe he doesn't now. Take a look at this.
You're right. Let's look at this spot. Credit to Chiefs offensive line for keeping Montana on his feet. This is a classic flooding the zone over here. Let's look at the spot. Looks to be pretty representative of where they ended up putting it on the ground. But Joe Montana has remained upright so far in this game. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're throwing dink little passes, and that looks to be about 1 inch away from a first down. All right, Jerry, 2. Have it your way.
1 link. One link, and when you're at the 47 in a scoreless game with 3:57 to go in the first quarter, 1 link may as well be.
Boy, this is really unprecedented. A guy who's the defensive coordinator turned head coach, and Marty Schottenheimer in the first quarter of a ball game going for it. It's your own 46.
Unless he's just trying to throw him off, we'll see.
Boy, this is out of character for Marty Schottenheimer.
Montana's got one of those good hard counts. He might try to draw him off.
Well,
and then just drop back into the punt.
They're not. They are going to run it. No, they're not.
Play clock ticking all the way down. They're doing anything to get Denver offside, and they can't.
That was, I'm sorry, Marty, that's too big a stretch. Nobody's going to believe that you, Mr. Conservative, would do that.
No way.
They did the same sort of thing in the San Diego game, down by 10 last week, and opted for a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Well, it's smart the way they did it with the multiple shifting.
They were running out of shifts.
Yeah.
Of course, Denver was being advised by Wade Phillips, and don't be offsides. Look at the head bob by Montana. They try a little bit of everything. They'll send Allen in motion here next. That doesn't work. Let's send 32.
That's
Maybe
Joe.
that'll draw somebody.
That's Joe Valerio, number 73, the guy that was in as a reserve tight end bumping around.
Here's Louis Aguiar's kick. It's a line drive, and it is Glenn Milburn from the 14-yard line with Chiefs falling down all over the place. He brings it back up to the 30-yard line. Well, now Neil Smith is on the bench, and Derek Thomas, as we mentioned, as a disciplinary move, is on the bench, at least temporarily. And Vaughn Booker comes in, number 99, to spell Smith. So you've got your two aces out of the lineup defensively, and Elway tries to exploit it by gunning one out to the 50-yard line, and it's caught there, staying inbounds. Anthony Miller, Mark Collins with the coverage, and they finally get the ball to Anthony. 20-yard gain.
Miller with a tremendous ovation here at this Mile High Stadium. Again, he did not catch a pass a week ago. Only has 12 coming in. That's his 13th of the season. Collins on the play, and he made a good play on it. Good move to the ball. As he come down with both inbounds, it doesn't matter because Collins forces him out. Well thrown ball by Elway.
First down, and this is Derek Clark, a rookie, and he is tackled. Nice tackle at the 46. Tracy Simeon knifes through to stop him 3 yards behind the line.
Boy, that is the way you play it at the point of attack, not just with the great tackle, but take a look at this move right here. We're going to see a spin move inside there by Darren Mickle, and he gets back to the outside, disrupts the blocking scheme, and then Simeon in the backfield. That was just extremely well played by the whole right side of the Kansas City defense.
Well, they spotted up at the 49. A very gracious spot for Denver. Smith is back in the game, so he just misses a play. And the catch is made by Shannon Sharp. Good moves by Sharp. First down at the 36-yard line.
Great move by Sharp, looking like a hurdler.
Jay Taylor and Mark Collins walking back, Frank.
Where was he?
Where did he go?
Sharp is big. He goes about 235 pounds. There might be a little tendency to blink when you come in to make the tackle. There's a miss by Taylor, and he takes Collins out of it. Good move.
They will move. They will move.
Sharp is like a tight end playing wide receiver.
1:40 left first quarter, nothing. Denver at the Chiefs 36. Elway stepping up, got a marker down. Elway going deep, and Anthony Miller leaps for it and can't make the play. Whitmore with the coverage.
That flag came way back in the Kansas City secondary.
$12 men on the field. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Boy, they couldn't cover any better than that with 12. There were a couple men open.
Well, Dave Adolph looking at his defensive unit, and again with Thomas still on the bench. Smith missed a play earlier, but he's back.
I think Smith went out. He had about 3 consecutive pass rushes, and you saw him on the bench sucking on the oxygen. I think they're going to try and alternate, as a lot of teams do when they come into this Mile High Stadium. The altitude being as thin as it is, they try to alternate whenever they can.
Neil with that designer Band-Aid. They ought to market those things. 1st and 5 from the 31-yard line. And Elway's throw over the middle is incomplete. He tried to hit Jerry Evans, and we have another flag. This one in the offensive backfield. Holding. Denver.
Boy, John took nothing off of that ball. Evans had no chance to catch it. He just ripped it through his hands. He's
Holding number 65, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's one of the premier left tackles in the game of football, Gary Zimmerman. He's working on the far side against Vaughn Booker. And they called him there at the last minute, and they really called it more on the body action of Booker as he had his legs cut out from under him and went flying over backwards, and it looked like Zimmerman threw him that way. Appearances a lot of times get you in trouble more than the actual deed itself.
1st and 14 and a busted play, and Elway makes the most of it, picking up 3, taking it to the 37. Jaime Fields with the tackle, and let's go to Lynn Swan for a report on the field. Lynn, what do you got?
Al, you know that Neil Smith has been in and out of this ball game. One of the reasons is because of the injury and subsequent surgery to his hand. You see the big bandage on it. They're going to try and substitute him in obvious run situations for the Denver Broncos because it's hard for him to grip and tackle. And in obvious passing situations, he'll come back into the ball game. Al?
And you can see it graphically illustrated there. That right thumb encased as he settles in here in a passing situation on 2nd and 11, and it's batted in the air and incomplete. And,
Neil Smith.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting to see if Neil Smith could have somehow caught it.
I'm not so sure he didn't hit it with that thumb. Neil Smith wasn't close to John Elway, but he gets up there pretty good.
safety blitz on that play too, and Broncos did not have enough people staying home. Mark Collins coming on the blitz. Fields, I think, got the hand on it. There it is.
Oh, you're right. Jaime Fields gets. Neil Smith
got
hits it
it
as
too.
well. I didn't see the first hit by Fields. I saw the second one by Neil Smith. Well, not often you see a double batted ball.
3rd and 11 in the waning moments of a scoreless first quarter, and it's dropped at the 31-yard line. The throw a little low. Shannon Sharpe was there, and David Whitmore on a safety blitz that time knocks Elway down. Even if the pass been completed, they would have been considerably shy of the first down. But they might have been close to field goal range. Instead, now they'll have to punt.
Neil Smith working inside where he's really trying to get the big push. Effectively clears out 2 guys, and that was his role there to allow David Whitmore to come in on the blitz. So good work inside that time by Neil Smith. He didn't get the hit, but he made the hit possible.
Tom Ruin to punt. The ball is at the 37-yard line with 33 ticks left in the first quarter. And Denver will take, they'll gladly take a penalty here for delay if Kansas City wants to accept it, to give Ruin more room in which to angle the kick.
Well done, Al.
Oh, yeah. Any alliteration in a storm. Schottenheimer. Well, this game might as well be played on Halloween for him. He hates it here, including his days with Cleveland. 0-6 in the regular season, 0-1 in postseason here.
He had a good line this week. He said, I might make Bob Moore, our public relations director, I'll appoint him coach for the week. How could he possibly do any worse than I've done here?
He said he'd stay home.
This has been a house of horrors for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Ruin's kick. Ooh, is it? Did they hold it in play? No. It just crossed the goal line. It just crossed.
Well, if the ball didn't cross the goal line, it was touched by somebody who had crossed the goal line.
Charles Swan and Butler Binote got down there, but they couldn't hold it in. Richard Smith, the special teams coach, his unit almost pulls off a beauty. Missing by half a yard.
And Binote, who's actually in the end zone, makes contact with the football. That was a spectacular punt by Ruin.
Chiefs now take over with 22 seconds left in the first quarter. And Montana will throw, and Montana has it batted, and it is intercepted by Dan Williams at the 21. Williams intercepts after it was batted away.
I think Harold Hasselback was the Denver Bronco that hit the football. He was working on the inside.
Hasselbeck, we were told, will get some work tonight. Big, athletic, rangy, got a hand up there. Is he the one that batted it?
I'm not. Let's take a look at it. No, actually, it's number 98, Ted Washington. Hasselbeck's 96. Washington got his hand on the football. And then Williams gets the interception. So 2 defensive tackles sharing that interception. All the time in the world for John Elway. And Ted Washington, who never even got off the line of scrimmage, ends up making the big play.
Now Denver at the 21-yard line with the game's first very big break. And Leonard Russell gets upended at the 19. Dale Carter spinning him.
Well, there's one for the old NFL Films highlight reel.
And that is the end of the first quarter at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Like a pre-Halloween treat. Full moon on the 17th. Denver, Colorado. Mile High Stadium, the site. We start the second quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan working the sidelines. No score. Second down and 8. Denver at the Chiefs 19. Elway slides to a halt at the 11-yard line, close to a first down. Neil Smith gets credit for the tackle, and Mincy starts to mix it up with Russell Freeman. 3rd and 1. Vaughn Booker comes in, and Pella McDaniels as well. So they're minus Thomas, minus Smith, and Sally Amu is also inactive. 3 key guys are out defensively. And here is Russell exploiting it for the touchdown behind a beautiful Reggie Rivers block.
Well, for what it's worth, that would have been Derek Thomas's side of the field. It was short yardage, everyone closing down. We've seen it happen so many times. Good read by Leonard Russell. It was an off-tackle play. He saw it close down, crooked to the outside, easy 6 for Denver.
Well, credit the entire left side of Denver's offensive football team. There's the block by Rivers. You see Cedric Tillman, the receiver to that side, getting a block. And look how far away everyone in a Kansas City uniform is. They were eradicated at the line of scrimmage.
Jason Elam tacks on the extra point. So the Montana interception is very costly.
A fantastic crowd here in Denver, prepared for anything. That one said another Broncos comeback. They had another ABC banner hanging up, said another bitter conclusion. They're prepared for however this game goes, but
might still, the backside of that one.
Still 70,000 plus here on their feet, and you would never guess this was the crowd rooting on a 1-4 football team. It's quite a statement to the type of fans they have here in the Mile High City.
Report on Neil Smith. He stung his thumb, is what they say from the bench. He will return. Kick to the 6-yard line. Ron Dickerson finds a seam, and Dickerson is into Denver territory and is dragged down at the 34-yard line by Tony Kimbrough. And so the Chiefs, who were stung after the Montana interception, and there is Marty's brother Kurt Schottenheimer, who coaches the special teams, very happy with the field position his man Dickerson has just given the team.
Well, it's pride themselves in special teams, and Dickerson spots a little gap, and this is how you run back a kickoff. Find yourself a little crease and turn it on. Beat the kicker, as he did right there.
We knew it was one of the things we were going to see a lot more of this year. A lot more kickoff returns being important factors in the game, moving the kickoff back 5 yards.
62-yard run back, and now Montana from the 33 floats one, and the catch is made by Kimball Anders. He's taken down at the 29-yard line, and Derek Thomas, who loosened up during the commercial, has been out of the game to this point, is getting ready to come in the next time Kansas City has to bring the defensive unit in.
And Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator, talking to Marty, might have been something along the lines, please, 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 can I let him in now?
Yeah.
I know, you made your point, Marty.
Right. Enough's enough.
Sitting in the corner long enough.
I am begging you.
Second down and 5. The Chiefs have not scored in more than 9 quarters, not scored a touchdown.
Whoa.
And Greg Hill gets tackled by Dennis Smith. Smith just got enough of him.
Oh, and Dennis has to feel good about that. Our Monday night game a couple of weeks ago against Buffalo, Dennis Smith was responsible for a lot of the problems. Had just put on the Bronco uniform for the first time, tried to play. And he brings such an inspiration to this team. as well as ability. There it is in his 14th year. Big play by Dennis Smith.
He played so poorly in that game, he seriously contemplated retirement the next day. 3rd and 11 from the 34. Montana buys time, throws, catch made. Davis tackled though at the 27, considerably short of the first down. And so the Chiefs are looking at about a 45-yard field goal attempt.
Well, the one thing, just to finish up that Dennis Smith thing, hey, how well could anybody play when he comes in on Wednesday and plays on Monday night? No training camp, no nothing. I don't care how many Pro Bowls you've gone to or how good a player you were. Nobody walks in off the street and plays a strong football game in just a couple days.
Well, on 4th down and 4, the Chiefs, instead of going for a 44 or 45-yard field goal attempt, line up to go for it. They need a spark. And Montana throws, and it is broken up. Ronnie Bradford breaks it up, and Denver has the ball. Joe Montana, 1 interception, then a 4th down call there. A very interesting call. Derek Thomas, meanwhile, is still not in the game. Neil Smith is on the bench. Sally Mua is inactive. Denver has the ball at the 27 after Schottenheimer gambles, gives up a 44 or 45-yard field goal attempt at altitude. And they run a reverse with Anthony Miller being chased. And he is finally run out of bounds at the 30-yard line by George Jameson. 2nd and 7 at the 30. Out of the shotgun, inside handoff. Glenn Milburn cuts it back the other way and is close to a first down. Jameson runs him out of bounds up near the 37.
We saw Marty Schottenheimer point to Derek and say, get ready. He is buckled up and ready to go.
Flag here.
Well, if this is going to throw Denver into a 2nd and long situation.
Holding number 75.
We will
offense.
see him then.
Yeah.
10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And here he comes. He's the best pass rusher on the football team. And here we go now into a pass rushing situation. And Derek Thomas has landed.
And Neil Smith comes out as well. So they both come back into the game.
They work so well together. They often switch sides. They do it on their own. Whenever they decide on the field that Smith should be on one side or Thomas on the other, they just do it on their own.
I bet Zimmerman at left tackle is really thrilled.
2nd and 17, 11:25 to go in the half. Broncos lead 7-0. Elway, and it is incomplete over the middle, intended for Milburn, broken up by Jaime Fields. Derek right in the middle of action on his first play in.
Well, the problem with Derek Thomas, you're going to see a really good job of blocking him by Zimmerman. But he's got so much speed that when he gets around the corner, a lot of times he'll come back in. Even though he's out of the play, he has such a wonderful 3 or 4 yard burst to that quarterback. A guy like Zimmerman can't ever afford to let him go.
That 8 was a 6. It would remind you of somebody else, wouldn't it?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Just like LT.
Yeah, that same ability to close in a hurry.
3rd and 17 from the 20-yard line. And the play is whistled dead before the snap.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Denver in a full retreat.
3rd and 22 upcoming. Elway holding his hands. So they have the speaker in the helmet. That's where he takes the call from Jim Fossil on the sideline. Trying to get a better read on the audio. There's Fossil, the offensive coordinator.
I wonder what he's got in his head for 3rd and 22. Not that minute.
That's when you let John call it.
That's really your turn.
4 wides out of the gun. And Elway slips and down he goes. Derek Thomas there first, and Neil Smith, the 1-2 punch.
I'll tell you, just the mere presence of these two on the field can make a difference.
Well, it rained and it snowed all day here, and there was a tarp on the field, but it appears that the field is still loose in a couple different places. And John just slips and falls. Now, I'm not sure he would have had a whole lot of time to do much of anything with Neil Smith coming in, but he did just have his foot slide right out and go right down.
3rd time he's been sacked tonight. Tom Ruin's kick is a 45-yard kick taken on a second hop and run back by Dane and Hughes to the 45-yard line.
Well, we're getting some new tires put on the wheels of John Elway, and that's his right foot, the plant foot, that he throws out behind him when he plants to throw a pass. And they change them on both of his shoes, and so hopefully they'll have no more of that.
Should have timed that pit crew.
Yeah, like a NASCAR race.
At least he didn't catch on fire.
Montana from the 45-yard line swings one out to Hill, and that's a minimal gain. Randy Hilliard makes the tackle on the rookie. And let's take a look at Kansas City's first 4 possessions. Punt, interception, which led to a touchdown. And then they went on a 4th and 4 and turned the ball over on downs.
The interception, though, really you can't blame Montana for that. A fluke interception being batted by one defensive tackle over to another one.
2nd and 7. 10-10 to go in the half. 7-0 Broncos. Hill with room. And the rookie to the 33-yard line on the first down, tackled there by Randy Hilliard.
Well, and that's what the Chiefs, Frank, are looking for in Greg Hill, that little bit of explosiveness.
He has it too, and as soon as he gets more accustomed to this offense, the ability to pick up the blitz, and that's what they're concerned about. We mentioned it earlier. You got to protect number 19, and he is just not all that familiar with the offense. You saw Joe Montana a moment ago just direct Hill to the flanker position. Hill had lined up wrong.
Montana rolling, buying time, and Dwight Clark isn't in the area, so he just throws it out of bounds. Every time you see Montana roll right, I mean, it's forever embedded in your brain, isn't it?
Well, boy, isn't that the truth? Looking for Dwight Clark.
Yes.
Here comes Marcus back into the game when you get more into a passing situation. Nobody's better than Marcus coming out of the backfield. The one thing you do have to notice as we move here well into the second quarter, Joe Montana is still clean. He really hasn't taken a hard shot in this game. And keep in mind, this is the guy who has a whole lot of body parts that are hurting.
2nd down and 10. Marcus through the middle. Takes it down to the 31-yard line. A gain of about 3. Mecklenburg and Washington converge on the stop. 3rd down and roughly 7 coming up. Kansas City coming in 3-2, 3 wins to start things, and then 2 losses to the Rams and San Diego. Still haven't scored a touchdown in almost 2.5 games. Broncos were 0-4, and then they beat Seattle last week.
3 wide receivers now for Kansas City. They're a little short-handed there. Lake Dawson, the rookie from Notre Dame, is injured. He's not playing tonight.
3rd and a long 7, and they give it to Kimball Anders, and Anders picks up the first down to the 16-yard line, but there's a marker down at the line of scrimmage on the far side.
But what a good call.
Beautifully executed play.
Denver thinking nothing but pass.
However, part of the reason the execution looked so good was that part of it was illegal.
Offside.
Maybe.
Number 91, defense lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties declined.
No.
First down.
It was legal.
It was. And it'll stand.
Yep.
Terrific call, though. Denver thinking nothing but pass. Willie Oshiden thinking nothing but pass. He's offsides. Drive stays alive.
First down at the 16-yard line. 8:20 to go in the half. Denver leading 7-0. And Montana throws, and the catch is made at the 13. That's Tracy Green, a rookie from Grambling. They're working him into the lineup, and he'll get a chance to play a little bit more now that Keith Cash is hurt. He's the backup tight end to Derek Walker.
7th-round draft pick. He is a mountain, too. Out of Grambling, he's 6'5", 280 pounds, a former offensive lineman that has tremendous agility. And they think down the line that he could become a real fine tight end. He certainly has the numbers for it.
And the one thing the Chiefs are doing, they've been very poor down here in the red zone. Marty thought they were running too much on first down. He wanted to pass more.
2nd and 6, and Marcus Allen takes it down to the 7. It'll be a little short of the first. It'll be 3rd and a yard. Inside the 10-yard line, and you would think this team would score 2/3 of the time at least. Instead, just 40%, and the NFL average is 64%. And that's been the problem, inside the 10 and inside the 20.
Well, they weren't getting anything running the ball on first down, and Marty said we have got to throw it more on first down. And you notice they threw it. They picked up the equivalent of a good solid 4-yard run, and it makes everything a little more viable all the way down the line.
said he spent 8 hours this week just in red zone planning alone. Allen inside the 5, touchdown Kansas City.
How does he do it? Time after time after time. Marcus Allen finding the end zone.
The best short yardage running back in the history of this game.
We've got an injured Bronco down at the 1-yard line. They're waving for the medical corps.
Marcus Allen has a feel for it. He always has great balance.
It's Keith Burns, the linebacker.
Hits into a pile. This time he gets a terrific block. Zott closing down a lead block by Bennett. And Marcus, who doesn't put that head down and just bull ahead, he is aware of where he is at every second that he has it. I mean, he just is a total awareness football player.
Boy, the whole Denver training. Burns, 56, right in the middle of your screen, is a player who's down. Well, he's the guy that Marcus hits. Goes over backwards.
I think John Alt wound up on top of him.
What a block, though, by Donnell Bennett to get this thing going on Dennis Smith. That's the one that made it all possible.
That touchdown by Marcus Allen, the 116th of his career, so that ties him with John Riggins for 4th in NFL history. You've got, well, Rice on top, and Jim Brown and Walter Payton, and then a tie. So Thomas reassuming his position defensively when Denver takes over after the kickoff. Lynn Elliott will try to tie the game. 6:57 to go in the half. He boots it through. Big game for both teams, trying to get it untracked, and both of them chasing the only undefeated team in the NFL right now, the San Diego Chargers. Elliott's kick is out of bounds. So that'll bring it up to the 40-yard line. A little scuffle ensues, but nothing much. And Mark Bright will spot it at the 40.
And that is just about as costly a penalty.
Here's Elway from the 40-yard line. Miller in motion. Leonard Russell swings to the outside and picks up about 3. Well, we might as well enjoy it while we can, because we don't know how long it'll last, but it's wonderful to be able to sit and watch a game with Elway and Montana. Elway will be here for a few more years, but for Joe, who knows?
It's you know, Frank, too many times you say, oh, here's a Hall of Famer. How many times do you get to do a game where you know that you're looking at 3 individuals who are locks for the Hall of Fame? Montana, Elway, and Marcus Allen, all in the same game, and still productive players. It's a treat.
Well, I love Montana's way of putting it. He's playing because he still loves the game. He's going to hate to leave it, but he'll know when it's time to go.
2nd and 7. Elway throws, and he gets hit as he throws, intended for Miller. Derek Thomas put the pressure on, and let's check in with Lynn Swann again. Swanee?
Al, we're talking about Elway slipping. This grass out here is a little bit long. When it gets matted down and it lays flat, you can slip on it. That's one reason why he slipped. Also because he was wearing a shorter spike. The one right here that I'm pointing to is the one he had before. He switched to a longer spike to give his footing a better grip on this grass, so he should not slip. At least he hopes he doesn't. Al?
Well, the other thing he has to worry about, too, Lynn, is when he gets to the other end of the field, they've resodded what was the baseball infield, and that's slippery as well. 3rd down and 7. Elway throws, beautiful pass. Miller makes the catch at the 40-yard line, tackled by Mincy. Anthony Miller.
And again, the roar goes up. They've been waiting for the fireworks to erupt between these two, John Elway and Anthony Miller. 150 receptions over the past 2 years for this man, Anthony Miller. And what a threat he is after he catches the ball, but you got to get it to him. He reads the zone with Elway, the 2-deep zone, finds the spot, and Elway delivers.
Miller signed after San Diego opted not to re-sign him. Huge contract here in Denver. And they're trying to work him back into the offense as Russell picks up 3. The thing that people forget about is that Denver wanted to go out and get a premier wide receiver, so they made a tremendous offer to Tim Brown. That forced the Raiders to come up with the money to keep Brown, and that's when they went after Anthony Miller. And there's another wide receiver, Mike Pritchard. They acquired him in a trade with Atlanta, but he suffered a lacerated kidney. And Derek Russell, another receiver, a good one, he's hurt as well.
The reason we haven't even mentioned, Rod, Rob Bernstein, we lost him up in Buffalo for the season, probably with a knee injury. So Broncos have had their share of injuries.
Boy, the loss of Miller and Bernstein sure has crippled the Chargers, hasn't it?
2nd and 7. Milburn. And the slithery one takes it to the 28 behind a Gary Zimmerman block, close to a first.
Yeah, that's good work by Zimmerman. Keep in mind, this is the left guard and left tackle coming all the way around. Zimmerman from left tackle comes all the way across the formation. Melander 64, Zimmerman 65. Melander gets the pin on Neil Smith inside. Zimmerman gets all the way downfield. This is pretty strong work here by the Denver offensive line.
I was about to ask you if you ever did that from your tackle spot.
Yeah, we used to do it. I'm not sure I did it that well, but I did it.
3rd and a short one, and they give it to Russell. He bulls his way through the middle, and he only needed about a half yard, and he has it.
Well, Russell, a big bonus to the Denver Broncos, got into a contract problem with New England, 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago. And when Bernstein down, the Broncos were very fortunate to have Russell around. They had 100 yards rushing a week ago in their win over Seattle. A lot of football player there in 42.
You just can't survive these days without a big back, a 235, 240-pound guy.
First down, 27, game tied, 7-7. Elway for the end zone, open is Miller, touchdown.
Well, those are the fireworks. And the crowd loves it.
He beats David Whitmore.
Well, that was the long ball all the way. The Broncos had 3 separate receivers in the end zone. Anthony Miller is the guy in the middle, and Whitmore woefully short.
Elway looked Whitmore off with a pump to the right.
Well, they ran with running both of the outside guys into the end zone as well, Frank. They put the Kansas City safeties in a real bind.
Elam for the extra point. Miller's 3rd touchdown of the season. Elway is happy. 3:35 to go in the half. Denver leading 14-7. Elam to kick off. Ron Dickerson back to receive. His last run back was 62 yards. And Dickerson breaks it out past the 30, and another beauty up to the 38-yard line where Reggie Rivers makes the tackle.
I want to go back and look at that touchdown and show you something you don't see very often. All four of the Denver receivers right here are all going to end up in the end zone. This is Anthony Miller right here, who's going to go right down the crease. But take a look at this. All 4 Bronco receivers end up in the end zone. No wonder the Kansas City safeties don't know which direction to go. That's just, Frank, all 4 guys running a fly pattern, something you don't see all that often.
I'm just trying to see why Marty Schottenheimer was in Carter's face.
From the 37-yard line. Alan, it's a fascinating thing that the only time you'd ever see that is in the Hail Mary situation.
Really?
Or if you have a John Elway at quarterback.
There's always
get out of trouble.
You know, normally someone is always running some sort of a clearing pattern underneath. There's a safety outlet streaking all 4 guys to the end zone in a conventional play. If you are those 2 safeties, where do you go?
I mean, that's the last thing in the world you have to think is going to happen. All 4 guys going down. The 43-yard line, 2nd down and 4. And the Chiefs a little confused, and in fact confused enough we have a flag for illegal motion.
Oh, they were not set.
Willie Davis, the intended receiver.
Joe was running out of time on the clock. Hurried the snap.
1 guy can be in motion at the snap of the football, not 2. And what was happening is that 2 Kansas City Chiefs, both of their backs, were still in motion, going different directions. Take a look at this.
Well, Joe had changed the play right here.
Right.
Andrews stepped up to get the play, and Montana running out of time. got the snap, and that was it.
By rule, you must be set for 1 second before the snap of the football. I don't see much panic on Joe Montana's face. I think he is the original been there, done that guy.
He's been there and done that since he's about 18 years old. I can't ever remember seeing panic on his face.
No.
Montana on 2nd and 10, and the pass is dropped at the 39 by Derek Walker, and then he gets popped for good measure by Richard Harvey.
Again, the tight end so important in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And Keith Cash unavailable with a bad knee. Derek Walker making his first start here for Kansas City. Montana had the ball there.
I wonder if Denver is starting to tighten up their defense here, knowing that Montana isn't going to hold the football very long. Joe's got the bad ribs. Most of their passes up to this point have been short, quick passes. If Denver picks up on that, they're going to take that short game away and force Montana to hold it.
On 3rd and 9. Joe throws. Kimball Anders gets open, and Anders gets banged down at the 48, but I think he's got a first. Ben Smith is there. They split Anders out to the right. It's funny, he's a fullback, but he's a good receiver, and they had him out to the right with only Marcus Allen remaining in the backfield.
And Anders knew exactly what he had to do to get the first down. He lowered his head, 230 pounds. He's very close to it. I guess they're going to take a look at it. But Anders was a good receiver at Houston. Played in the run and shoot there with Andre Ware. They don't mind moving him out to the flat. He knows where he has to go for the first.
He's got it, too.
Down goes the head. He takes quite a shot from Ben Smith. But he gets the first.
You know, Ben Smith is only a 185-pound corner, but he is one of the most ferocious hitters at cornerback in this league.
Almost a miracle he's still playing, too.
Remember that catastrophic knee injury he had in Philadelphia?
Out for an entire year. Then he had another knee with full reconstruction.
Greg Hill is in motion on 1st down from the 48. And Montana wide open over the middle. That is Willie Davis. 1st down for the 27 of Denver. 1st down Kansas City at the 27-yard line. They're down by 7, 1:57 to the half, and KC has all of its timeouts. Joe on the run, flushed out, throws it away.
That's the pass pressure that we have said Denver has got to somehow pull together. They have not been doing with the down 4. What they do this time is the Sackmeister, as Al called him.
Sackmeister.
Fletcher is right in Montana's face.
One of the few times that Denver has gotten pressure just with a 4-man rush. Joe Montana has not hit the ground yet.
2nd down and 10 from the 27. And this time they're able to take Fletcher out of the play, and Montana throws and hits the tight end. It's Derek Walker who makes the catch, gets to the 7, 1st and goal.
Well, that time Montana was looking for trouble and almost bought it, but he stayed alive, kept looking for the alternate receiver, and finally came up with the tight end Walker.
One of the things that he has always done so well is stay alive. That movement, just subtle movements, a yard to the left, a yard to the right. Look at Joe Montana, sense the pressure where it is, and find an open guy. It's just, been watching it for so long, it's just easy to take for granted.
KC calls a timeout. Derek Graham should get an assist, taking Simon Fletcher out of that play. The Broncos keep trying to get Fletcher into the Pro Bowl. This guy has done a great job through the years, as you see the catch again. Yep. Simon has led the Broncos in sacks in each of the last 6 years. I think the only way they can get him to Honolulu is he'll have to hire James Carville, who can get anybody elected to anything, I guess, and maybe he'll get him to Honolulu.
Well, let's not go to those extremes.
He's playing in a new position this year, too. They got him strictly as the down lineman. He's not all that big, about 240 pounds.
1st and goal at the 7. Anders leaned over to talk to Marcus for a moment. Now Allen in motion. Joe looked toward Allen and then throws it out into the end zone as everybody was covered. Willie Davis, the closest receiver.
That's another thing this man does so well. When they are covered, Let's get rid of it. We'll live to fight another day. Just throwing that out of the end zone.
1:32 remaining in the first half.
Quality work by Charlie Waters secondary, though. That was just outstanding defensive work by the Denver Broncos. This is where noise becomes a physical thing at Mile High Stadium. You can feel it.
2nd and goal, and Allen falls down, slips, gets it to about the 5.5.
That was just about the point where John Elway slipped earlier when he went to the bench and changed the cleats. Tough footing in that particular part of the field.
And now Denver takes a timeout.
If we look again, Marcus trying to break it back, sees a little bit of an opening, plants the left foot, and down he goes.
Still tries to squeeze in there for another couple of yards or so.
The Snow Goose, Carl Mecklenburg. Lynn Swan, what you got for us?
Well, Al, that spot where Marcus Allen slipped, where John Elway also slipped, when they took the tarps off this field at 3 o'clock this afternoon, in that spot, there was a hole in the tarp. So as it gathered in the middle of the field, an abundance of water just poured out onto that spot in the field. Now, this is a PAT, a prescription athletic turf field. They've got pumps underneath, but that spot has to be much wetter than the rest of the field. Al?
Our man Swan out here at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
You know,
that's
I'll
like
tell
a
you,
plumber down there.
let's do this. We'll have Swanee sit down at the 50-yard line, and then we'll check his pants all the way down the field to see where they get the wetting.
Good
How
job,
about it,
man.
Swanee?
9th play of the drive. 3rd and goal. Ball at the 6. Kansas City trailing by 7. Willie Davis in motion. Joe with time. Throws back in the end zone. Touchdown, J.J. Burton.
Oh, and you were right about one thing. He had time to look off one receiver. There was a blitz on the part of the Broncos. It was picked up. Montana waited and waited till Burton got back to the back of the end zone and came right across.
I know one thing. I didn't even have to wait for the official to signal touchdown. Montana does that for us.
That was Andrews with a good block on Fletcher.
Takes a lot of time to come all the way across the back of the end zone like that. As you said, pass protection made it happen.
Lynn Elliott boots it through to tie it. Little reminiscent of that pass Montana threw in the playoff game last year against Pittsburgh when he hit Tim Barnett in the back of the end zone at the end of regulation to send it to overtime, and the Chiefs won the game in OT.
Pretty good throw by a 38-year-old guy falling off his back foot.
You know what I've said so many times about Montana. He makes everything that's difficult look so easy.
And Joe throwing those two arms up in the air, one of the most recognizable gestures in the world of sports.
Again, Fletcher right there. Look, Montana takes a quick look to the left, gives Burton the time that he needs. He uncovers, moving away from Dennis Smith at the back of the end zone. There you are, Dan.
There it is. That's
reaches all the way.
it does. Good extension. Good extension. Maybe his ribs aren't as sore as we were led to believe.
A little touchdown pass. Those ribs feel pretty good.
Well, I know one thing. If the second half, Joe has afforded the kind of protection that he's had here in the first half, Joe, take your offensive linemen out to dinner. They have treated you royally here in half number 1. And Denver, conversely, has to be very disappointed that they have not put more pressure on Montana and delivered more of a physical pounding to a guy who they know is hurting.
Lynn Elliott at 5,200 feet sends it into the end zone. Butler by Note slipped at the 1-yard line, and that cost him any chance in the run back. First touchback of the season off the foot of Lynn Elliott.
And that may tell us a little something about why Marty Schottenheimer didn't go for that 44 or 45-yard field goal. Remember when they went for it on 4th down in the first quarter, and we were kind of taken back a little bit. I guess it was early in the second quarter as to why he didn't go for that. Dawned on me that they're going the same direction they're going now. But you know, that was kind of a surprise that he didn't go for that field goal. Maybe Elliott's range, maybe that's right on the edge of it.
Could have been factored in. He did take a 48-yarder earlier this season. As Elway throws, and that's a bad-looking screen. Milburn, the intended receiver, got knocked down, but there was a lot of traffic there anyway. Neil Smith was the traffic cop.
Thumbs up, man.
Thumb up.
It's got to hurt. A lot.
2nd and 10. The Broncos in terms of timeouts with all 3.
Maybe you ought to wrap one of those Band-Aids around his thumb.
And that's knocked down by Neil Smith.
All right.
Obviously not off the thumb.
Wasn't it? I don't know. It was supposed to be an off the thumb.
He hit it with his right hand. Whether it actually doinked off the thumb or not, I'm not sure. Second time Neil Smith has got his hand on the ball.
Right. That's the hand. A stung thumb.
Kind of palmed that one.
Well, what a presence he is.
I guess so.
And you have 58 out there working with him, and they work so well together.
Been lining up side by side. Here they're going to do it again on the far side. That's Thomas and Smith.
Oh, they're flinching on the right side. And there's a flag. No play.
No play. All right, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry said, come on, guys.
My God, he didn't even have his mic turned on.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling.
False start, number 84, offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, we got the double flinch. He's right that on the top of the play, Willie Davis, the wide receiver, moved, but so did the right tackle, Russell Freeman. Not Willie Davis. Let's back that up and call him Shannon Sharp. A double pumper by number 84, and here's the flinch right there. That's enough. Sharp flipped all the way out to the right-hand side, and take your pick.
3rd down 15 from the 15 with 1:03. And this will get interesting now because Kansas City's going to get the ball back in pretty good field position. Derek Thomas sacks Elway.
And Smith get an assist.
That is the 4th sack tonight. Kansas City, meanwhile, has 1 timeout remaining, and they will use it here.
Well, that's Derek Thomas beating both the tackle and the block of Reggie Rivers.
He had a little deal at the line of scrimmage, and Denver just didn't stay with it.
Nope.
So now the Broncos are forced to kick, and Jeff Robinson's snaps tonight have been high, and Tom Ruin's kicks have not been very good, and Kansas City's going to get the ball back in pretty good shape. And with Montana, even without a timeout, with 58 seconds, that's an eternity.
And even though we questioned Marty on that, it would have been about a 44-yard field goal. Lynn Elliott has, as Al mentioned, kicked 148 this season, but his best is 53 yards, so he can reach it. Got a little breeze even working for him, it looks like.
So Ruin to kick. Game tied at 14. Dana Hughes back to return it. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. It's a very wobbly kick that bounces at the 40 and goes out of bounds at the 42, but a marker down at the snap.
Denver's going to be offsides.
That was a 35-yard punt. Kurt Schottenheimer, the chief special teams coach.
I think the sprinter to the bottom side looked like he got an early start.
He's out of the blocks a little early.
Yeah. And this is very critical here now, because this, as to whether Kansas City takes it or not.
Illegal motion on number 25, kicking team. Penalty is declined.
Yeah.
1st down.
Charles Swan.
He's at the very bottom. Here's Swan right here on the lower right hand, and just over anxious to get downfield. Breaks out early.
The Chiefs now, after the Broncos had the ball for 14 seconds. Kansas City gets it back at the 41, and the surgeon goes to work. And he starts with a pass to Marcus Allen. Allen tries to get out of bounds and is stopped at the 32-yard line.
Ooh, that was a risky move by Marcus, spinning back to the inside. That trying to get some extra yardage, but it's critical that Marcus get out of bounds. And
uncharacteristic of him, too. He must have thought he had something working here because he knows he needs to stop the clock. Spins back into the tackle. A good play made by Hilliard.
And that's the 500th catch of his illustrious career. Only Roger Craig among running backs has more. I mentioned to Marcus before the game, you need one for 500. He said, I should have had 600. And we all know what he meant. And that's almost intercepted. Almost picked off by Ben Smith. Willie Davis, the intended receiver. Marcus, of course, referring to those wasted last few years with the Raiders when he feels he could have caught at least 100 more balls.
And one of the reasons he also remains relatively healthy, too. He had a little time off for R&R there for a couple of years before going to Kansas City last year.
Guess every dark cloud has a silver lining.
Yes.
3rd down and 1 at the 33.
Montana changing it.
Joe throws, and the catch is made. That's Derek Walker. Nice catch. Alexander wraps him up. That's a 1st down. Clock under 30.
And Walker doing a good job tonight, filling in for Keith Cash.
And Joe buys some time here to stop the clock. 21 seconds. They don't have a timeout. They're in field goal range right now, but with Joe, he can get off at least a couple more plays.
And what 21 seconds gives you on this first play from the line of scrimmage, it gives you an opportunity to pass to the middle of the field, because you ought to be able to get up in 21 seconds, get to the line of scrimmage, and do just what Montana did there the last time, spike the ball and stop the clock. So wouldn't be afraid to work the middle of the field here.
And they trust him to do it.
Burden left, Davis to the right. He goes to the outside instead to stop the clock. Burden makes the catch.
No,
He's out of bounds.
Yep, they're not going to give it to him.
He was definitely out of bounds, and so it's simply incomplete, and it's 3rd down.
You say that so emphatically, Al, that he was definitely out of bounds.
Well, somebody whispered in my ear.
There's the late coverage by Steve Atwater.
He was emphatically out
He
of
was
bounds.
emphatically out of bounds.
Yeah, they're both out of bounds.
Your vision, though, Al, it's spectacular.
Getting better, too. 3rd down. And Montana throws, and the catch is made at the 19 by Walker. Not enough for a first, but now you're looking at a 37-yard field goal, and the Chiefs have to line up in a hurry. They're all over the place. Willie Davis is still on the field, and the clock runs out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you can't. There was not enough time to throw a ball in the middle of the field and run out a field goal team.
Stop the presses.
Yeah.
Woo.
Time expired on the play. Time expired.
John Elway outlined against the night sky in Denver, loosening up, and Joe Montana, who sort of, well, ingloriously ended that first half. He and the offensive unit unable to get the field goal attempt off before the gun. We're tied. Kansas City will get the ball as Jason Elam sends it down toward the end zone, and it's taken at the goal line by Ron Dickerson. And Ron brings it back out to the 23-yard line. Chiefs begin the first possession of the second half at that spot. Let's take a look at Joe just before going to the half, or going to half. There's Montana right in the middle of the action there. Aguiar is saying, get out of here.
I think he wanted to spike the ball and stop the clock.
Well, except it's 4th down.
Yeah, that would have been a mistake.
That would have been stopped, wouldn't it?
Montana throws, and the catch is made by Willie Davis up at the 34-yard line.
I can imagine what he was thinking, though.
Well, they ran 2 plays with 21 seconds left in the first half. There's Joe trying to get off. The problem is, I think they had them in reverse. They threw the sideline pattern first, and then the pattern to the middle of the field second, and I think it should have been the other order. And boy, Joe, as you can see, hurt himself a little bit in attempting to sprint off the field.
1st down at the 34. And the catch is made by Willie Davis, and Willie Davis is taken down to the Denver 41. Montana came into this game with rib and hip injuries. Marty Schottenheimer telling us the hip was no problem, but the ribs were.
Well, he threw a beautiful shot between the coverage there. Steve Atwater, he was in, there is Ben Smith, number 26 now. He'll pass him on to Atwater. Montana puts it right between the two of them. Just about as well as you can throw the football.
Denver, if they want to in any way control Kansas City's offense, has to find a way to put pressure on Montana. His uniform is as clean as when he came out for warm-ups.
Marcus Allen rolls his way inside the 35.
Now, he hasn't used that move in about 5 years. Beautiful spin back to the inside for a couple of extra yards. Marcus playing like a kid.
I think there's a knee, a little grass stain on Joe's right knee. I think that's only when he took a knee after he sprinted off at the end of the first half.
Montana has never won here, the only stadium in which he's started 3 or more games and has not picked up a win. He's picked up wins in 27 separate stadiums, but not Mile High. 2nd and 3. Joe for J.J. Burton, too far.
And there's the first hit. It's Carl Mecklenburg who comes in from Montana's left and puts a pretty good cruncher on him. And Joe just is not going to be able to take a whole lot of those during the course of this game.
Oh, that was 6. He puts this to the inside for Burton. Here comes Mecklenburg. A little delayed blitz. Gets away from Dave Zott and hammers Montana to the turf. But he leads this to the inside. It's an easy 6-point.
Third down 3 at the 35-yard line. Game tied early 3rd quarter. Joe to Marcus, and Marcus to the 31-yard line. I think he's a little short of the first. Ronnie Bradford is there for the tackle, but Marcus, the veteran, knowing how far he had to go, stretched and reached and tried to get it. There's also a flag down back at the 40.
That was as good an open field tackle as you'll see made there by Ronnie Bradford in not giving them the first
Holding,
down.
number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, Denver's going to take the penalty, even though it would have brought up a 4th down, to move Kansas City back and out of field goal range. Now we'll see if it can pay off. Dave Zott is the left guard. You can see him right there. That's a pretty good tackle.
3rd and 14 from the 45. A little dump off screen to Marcus. And Marcus Allen pops his way for a first down to the 29-yard line. Needed 14, got 16. And Dave Zott with some redemption throws the key block.
Out in front of the screen, and Marcus Allen, again, very aware of where he had to go to get the first down. No juking, just turned on what speed is left. Lowered the shoulder and got the first down. Well, he was never all that fast to begin with. But what a great football player. He knows where the first down markers are. He tucks the ball away and turns it on. Lunges for the last couple of yards that got the first.
Now Marcus splits left. Walker in motion. Montana throws to Walker. He's out of bounds at the 16-yard line. That's another Kansas City first down. Ben Smith with the tackle. So the Chiefs moving against a porous Denver defense, a defense that's given up an average of 29 points a game.
Boy, and Walker having a big night with Keith Cash sidelined with the knee injury. Derek Walker, the former Michigan Wolverine, former San Diego Charger, filling those shoes of Keith Cash.
On first down, the fake to Marcus. Kimball Anders can't hold it in. The pass a little high. 2nd down.
Simon Fletcher, the guy that time in Montana's face, he's unaccounted for. When you run a screen to that side, Simon Fletcher is unblocked, and it's left to the quarterback to try to get the ball around him to his man. You can see Joe has to go up over the top, and he throws it a little bit high to Anders, but still a very catchable ball.
Kind of uncharacteristic of Andrews. He's a good receiver.
2nd and 10. The Chiefs, after going 9 quarters without a touchdown, got 2. Had to drive at the end of the first half, and now this beauty. 2nd and 10. Allen, gain of 1. Mecklenburg in the middle is Halton, 3rd down and 9. What a face, huh?
As though Joe might have changed that play at the line of scrimmage in kind of a strange change off, if indeed he did. 2nd down and 9, 2nd down and 10, as a matter of fact.
10:55 left, 3rd quarter. Game tied 14-14, 3rd and 9.
Now Marcus is split down here to the bottom of the screen as a wide receiver.
Montana looks the other way, goes the other way, and the catch is made at the 4-yard line by Willie Davis. It'll be 1st and goal.
Little confusion there by Kansas City. Looked like J.J. Burden was in front of Willie Davis and thought the ball was coming to him. J.J. tried all he could to try to catch that ball.
Remember back at the beginning of this play, it was Montana moving people around. I think they obviously were in the wrong position.
I think Davis is saying, hey, it's tough enough to catch the ball out here without my own teammate distracting me.
1st and goal. Fake to Allen, that buys time, and wide open Joe Valerio, the tackle-eligible touchdown.
Well, that's Joe Valerio's 2nd touchdown of the year.
And you have got to respect the handoff to Marcus Allen, the play action. Good fake by Montana to set it up.
That's a customary spot for Valerio, playing the tight end position. He's an ineligible receiver. He has to report, and he fakes the block at the line of scrimmage and then drifts out. And he's got a pretty good reception percentage. 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Not bad.
The other came in that win against San Francisco in week 2 when they looked awesome. Kick by Elliott is good. Thought we were going to have it when I woke up this morning. A little snow flurry action in Denver.
Snowed up until about 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And it brightened and turned out to be a nice night. Elliott's kick comes down and is taken at the 4 by Butler Binote, who leads the league in apostrophes and takes it out to the 25-yard line. Neil Smith, who's been in and out depending on the situation with that thumb. They have been in passing situations and now, generally speaking, against the run. Denver has it. Derek Thomas, who missed the 1st quarter tonight as a disciplinary measure, has played since. And Elway starts from the 26-yard line. Swings it out to Leonard Russell. Russell out to the 29. That's a gain of 3. Stopped by Thomas.
Yeah, pretty nifty move by Leonard Russell, a 235-pounder. We witnessed his power already this evening. But pretty good moves out of the flat. Elway looking downfield, checks off. And it's Russell against one of the best in the business. There he comes up with the tackle, but Russell gets a couple yards out of it.
2nd and 7 at the 29. 9:15 left in the 3rd quarter. 21-14. Chiefs. Russell up to the 32-yard line he goes. 3rd and 4. Total yardage tonight. Chiefs dominant. 271 to 156. And 204 from the arm of Montana. 3rd and 4 at the 32. Denver trying to counter that last Kansas City drive, which consumed 76 yards. Elway steps up to avoid the sack, then throws a little dump off that's incomplete. A lot of pressure that time. Thomas first, and then Darren Mickle second.
Derek Thomas, unblocked, runs right by John Elway. I'm not sure what he thought Elway was going to do. There's Thomas standing up. He's going to move off to his left, number 58, and he's untouched. And he just whizzes right by John. Finally, Darren Mickle comes over and makes Elway throw the ball poorly.
Tom ruined the kick. Dana Hughes back to get it. Flag down, 37-yard punt, and a 5-yard run back to the 36-yard line, but a marker at the line of scrimmage.
It's where Jerry Markbright has to look for the official through the flag. An eligible receiver downfield against the Broncos. It was not a very good kick.
Net of 32. So you figure Kansas City will, well, let's see what they're going to do.
They want to run it back again.
They're going to.
An eligible man downfield on the kick. Number 50, kicking team. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
I'm really kind of surprised with only a net 32 yards here in the Mile High City. You could end up with a boomer.
Yeah. Well, they're figuring that Ruin's having a bad night. They like Hughes on run backs, and they'll take their chances.
And they've had some good returns tonight.
Well, by gosh, we'll just see whether it works.
Yes, we will. Hughes' longest run back, 43 yards this season. He's averaging 10.7 coming into the game. It's a little better than the league average.
The Broncos need Randall Cunningham to punt.
Yes.
What, he had an 81-yarder yesterday?
Oh, what a beauty. Quick kick. This kick is taken by Hughes at the 33. There's a flag down on the run back, and he brings it back to the 45. So for the moment, it looks like they made the right choice, but let's see here.
Well, if the flag's against Kansas City, and it almost always is in this situation, I think it'll end up being a net loss.
Illegal block. Number 42 on the return. 10-yard penalty. 1st down. Timeout.
Mile High Stadium in Denver. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. Lynn Swann on the sidelines. 21-14 Kansas City. Simon Fletcher in the defense now really has to dig in because the Chiefs have mounted 4 nice drives in a row, and they give it to Greg Hill. And I would suggest, gents, that with the fumble, and they're going to say he was down, his knee was down, Kansas City will maintain possession, but I'd suggest that this is a very critical drive for Denver, not only tonight but for their whole season, because they have to dig in at this point. This is a very vital game and a very important drive here.
He missed a chance there. Greg Hill lost his ball. Mecklenburg stripping it out. The ball is loose.
That ball is out cleanly. If Denver recovered it, it should have been theirs.
Yep. 2nd down and 9 at the 30-yard line. Play clock ticks down. Hill again for a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Let's take a look at that fumble one more time, see if we can ascertain who ends up with possession. That's Carl Mecklenburg's left hand that knocks the ball out of Greg Hill.
Well, they ruled that he was down.
You're right. They did rule he was down.
It was very close.
But it's a moot point if a Kansas City Chief was the guy at the bottom of that pile that covered the ball.
Simon Fletcher came up with the football.
Well, then it's not a moot point.
Yeah. 3rd down and 5. And Montana incomplete. There's a flag, though, that comes in. Kimball Andrews says thank you very much. Ronnie Bradford with the coverage.
Bradford just getting there a little early. Draped his arm around Andrews and gets the flag.
Illegal contact foul. Number 58 defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Elijah Alexander.
It was Bradford on the coverage.
I'm not so sure that wasn't holding on the tight end. That wasn't Alexander checking Derek Walker trying to come off the line of scrimmage. See if Kenny Wolf, our producer, can tune this one up for us. There's Walker coming off the line of scrimmage, and there's Alexander. Yes, and he's definitely got the hold on him. That's what brought the flag. It wasn't the coverage. It was the hold on the tight end.
I think you could have thrown
Coming off
it
the ball.
one of them. But that's the one they called.
From the 39-yard line. Hill picks up about 5, and another flag goes down.
Holding. Number 61 offense. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Center Grunhard. Tim Grunhard, the hold.
He has developed into an outstanding center, the former Notre Damer.
It is
First and a ways.
Yeah, 1st and 20. 6:34 left, 3rd quarter. Kansas City on top by 7.
Denver needs a big play. They really can't let Kansas City get a first down.
Anders, and a flag comes in here, so flags are wild. 3rd down and 10. Saw the flag, but let's see what Mark Bright has to say. Hilliard and Kroll in on the stop.
Hard to believe that Kimball Anders did something wrong there. There were nothing but orange shirts around him. And any sort of a personal foul or anything like that against Denver is a first down.
There's no foul on the play. There was no illegal block. The defender was going toward the ball carrier. No foul.
Thank you, Al.
Just keeping you up to date.
All right.
Next week we're going to run a ticker across the bottom of the screen.
I think the market was up today, right?
Yeah. 2 points. The Dow was.
Whoa.
Montana going deep, and Burton adjusts on the play, and it's incomplete.
Nobody's making a call. Well, wait a minute.
No flag.
There was certainly some indecision by the guys downfield as to whether he caught it or not.
Montana got popped on that one.
Elijah Alexander made his presence felt.
Here's the conclusion of that play. J.J. Burton really tries to react, come back to it. You can see clearly the ball on the ground.
Ben Smith with the coverage. 3rd down and 10. And here's Marcus Allen, and Marcus with a great move picks up the first down. And here's another flag that comes in from the secondary.
That's worth looking at no matter what happens.
Well, we'll see it. There's no question, as Mark Wright says, it's coming back. A hold.
Now bring it back, but Marcus Allen playing back to yesteryear. Terrific move. Little hesitant stutter step.
But you talk about somebody who knows exactly where he is on the field. It's one thing if he's on the sideline and he sees the marker, but there he is dead in the middle of the field.
Number 87 offense. 10-yard penalty. It'll be 3rd down again.
Tracy Green with a penalty, but Marcus right in the middle of the field. He knows exactly where he has to go for the first down.
For naught.
Yeah. But not even close to the sideline marker. Picked up what would have been the first, except for the holding.
That's the little stutter move here. Little juke there.
He put
Daryl
Hall down,
almost lost his you-know-what.
3rd and 12 now after the call against Green. Willie Davis is going to go back. They're going to check him out. Heading back to the locker room, the wide receiver. The stadium is shaking, and the catch is not made by Chris Penn. With Davis out, Penn is in, and Penn drops an easy reception.
First down. I think the rookie from Tulsa just took his eyes off it. He was thinking big yardage when he should have been thinking catch the ball. And right now you can see Willie Davis going into the locker room. We'll try and get a report on that. But watch Chris Penn. Breaks behind the receiver here. Little lack of concentration on it, thinking big yardage instead of first down.
It was not an artistic success, but it was a success by Denver defensively, holding Kansas City.
Absolutely. Aguiar's kick is fumbled, recovered by Milburn. That whole sequence and fits and starts, but that was very critical.
Yep. The bottom line is all that mattered there, and Denver forced a Kansas City punt, although they muffed it.
5 minutes, 8 seconds remaining. 3rd quarter in Denver. Kansas City leading 21-14. The Broncos start this possession at their own 27. 1st and 10. Elway. Good play fake. Plenty of time. Throws right on the money up to the 46-yard line to Anthony Miller. That's a first down.
Strong arm, you better believe it. That's about a 30-yard out with the ball just on a frozen rope. Miller with the great speed gets the respect, breaks it to the sidelines. Collins has got to respect Miller going deep, and Elway right on the numbers.
Miller's 4th catch tonight, 84 yards and a touchdown for Anthony. Now it's Russell to the outside, and that play is broken up by one of the greats, Derek Thomas, the first to stop, and Dale Carter makes sure he doesn't go any further.
That's what you might call a little defensive penetration. Fights off the block of Evans and meets the ball carrier only about 5 yards upfield. That's a tough block for a tight end. You're out in space out there. You're all alone. You've got one official locked in just on you to monitor holding and trying to block a guy like Derek Thomas. That's a night's work.
2nd and 13 at the 42. Thomas can't sack him from behind, and here's Milburn. Great move, and takes it to the 44-yard line. Totally faked out Jaime Fields, and should have a first down. Speaking of Derek Thomas, let's get this report from Lynn Swann. Swanee?
Hal, I talked to Derek Thomas going off the field at halftime about not having played in the first quarter and the first few minutes of the second. He said, I was wrong for being late for the meeting. I accept the punishment. I have to understand that when I'm wrong, I am going to pay a price for it. I accept it like a man, but more importantly, I think it's important what I do once I get in the ball game. He says, I'll do everything to help this team win the game. Al?
Well, thank you, Lynn. First down, Elway from the 44. And Elway escapes and picks up close to 7. The pressure was put on by his former teammate, Greg Cragen.
Well, John jokes about his 6.3 speed, referring to an awful slow 40-yard dash, but I think he's being a little facetious. For 34 years old and a big guy at 215 pounds, that's still pretty spry movement by John Elway.
And a quick move to get out of the trouble.
He's got the bad wheels, the bad knee. Still gets around pretty good.
2nd and 3. Russell cuts it back, picks up the first down, takes it to the 32-yard line. 2:30 to go, third quarter. Chiefs lead by 7. Jamison and Cragen in on the stop. Jim Fassel, the offensive coordinator.
He is speaking directly to John Elway.
I started to say he's speaking to John.
Kind of unusual for the play caller to be on the sideline. Most offensive coordinators like to work from the press box where they have the good vision of the field.
Well, they have their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator, Charlie Waters, both working the sideline. From the 32, Elway throws, and that's Glenn Milburn with some beautiful moves, and he gets banged down by Mark Collins at the 19. First down. Shannon Sharp, good block.
Milburn may be small, 5'8", 175 pounds, but he has some great moves.
Well, I think is that
leading
Derek
receiver coming into tonight, and you can see why. You get it to him on a little dump off, and then he turns it into something big.
I think it's Derek Thomas was the guy that he made whiff back up at the line of scrimmage. Oh, look at that. The block at the conclusion of that play by Shannon Sharp.
Good drive thus far by Denver, right when they needed it.
1st and 10 at the 19. Broncos down by 7. Here is the rookie Derek Clark. And he gets just a yard. Clark out of Evangel College in Springfield, Missouri. A couple of thoroughbreds tonight, of course, quarterbacking the teams. In terms of most wins as a starting quarterback, Tarkenton Hall of Fame 125, Unitas Hall of Fame 119. Montana, of course, will be there 111. Bradshaw Hall of Fame 107. And Elway one shy of becoming the 5th quarterback to win 100 games as a starter.
I think Steve Hurt came up with an amazing statistic. Both these quarterbacks tonight have thrown the ball for what, over 20 miles?
Right, over 35,000 yards. 2nd and 11. Elway to the end zone, and the catch is made by Jerry Evans. The flag is down.
He was pushing off in the end zone, and they got him.
Momentarily they signal touchdown, but if he's pushing off, it's coming back.
Well, there was definitely contact with Jaime Fields, number 59, in the end zone.
He just pushed off with his left hand.
Defense, penalties decline.
And they're going to get
Right, they call it on
Fields.
Jaime Fields.
It's at 58, but it's Jaime Fields. A little pushing in the end zone, and Fields gets the flag.
Well, Jerry Evans, the guy who has not been a big part of the Bronco passing game. You see the contact there, and boy, good concentration by Jerry Evans, staying with the football, and a perfectly thrown ball from John Elway.
4th reception for the year.
Yeah.
First touchdown for Evans for the year. Elam to try to tie it. He does. Well, we've got a beauty.
Oh, what a ball game this is.
Few stadiums on this continent shake like Mile High Stadium shakes. And they're shaking it right now.
It was 21-14 Kansas City when we talked about how critical it was for the Denver defense to hold. If Kansas City would have gone down and taken a 2-touchdown lead, would have been disaster for Denver. They held, they gave it to their offense, and they tied it up.
Stayed in the game and maybe stayed in the season. Elam sends it down to Dickerson at the 1. And he's back to the 17-yard line. Alan Aldridge and Ronnie Bradford with the coverage. First down from the 18. Marcus Allen on what figures to be the final play of this quarter. Takes it to the 21. And that will be the end of the third quarter. We saw Willie Davis a few minutes ago go back to the locker room, report sprained neck, but he's back. He's back in the game, and we start the fourth quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf with Lynn Swann working the sidelines in Denver. 21-21. KC second and 7 at the Chief 21. Hill, the Texas A&M rookie, fights his way up to the 24-yard line. Third down, short 4 from the 24-yard line. Joe to Marcus. Up to the 32, and a flag is down in the backfield, in the offensive backfield at the 16-yard line.
That can only be one thing.
Yep.
Big play for the Broncos.
Holding number 79 offense. 10-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal. No, 10-yard penalty, third down.
Dave Sott, his second holding call of the evening. Let's take a look here while they reset the ball. Take a look at the numbers through the first 3 quarters. The advantage to Kansas City in total yards. Denver covered some ground with that last possession of theirs to get back in it a little bit yardage-wise. Only 1 turnover in this ball game. The interception by Dan Williams of Joe Montana, and that led to 7 points.
Yeah, both struggled trying to rush the ball.
Third and 14. Joe's got to get him to the 28 to convert. Throws, and the catch is made up at the 39-yard line by J.J. Burton.
This is fun to watch.
Ooh, great.
This is good stuff, boys.
Montana had a quick thought about running the football. Probably could not have picked up the first down just about the time he was going to run the ball. Burton uncovered, and he put it up there for him, and a good catch by Burton. Burton only goes about 5'10". He had to go to high to get this one. It was man coverage on the part of Hilliard. He's good at it. That's what he's the best at. But Burton breaks away from him, and Montana finds him.
25-yard gain. First down. Joe with time. Going deep for Davis. Too far. Willie had gotten out in front behind Atwater. He was open. But Joe, and people are wondering about Joe's arm. Pretty good illustration of Joe's arm strength right there.
And he adhered to the cardinal rule of quarterbacking. Put it in a position where it's either caught by your guy or it's an incompletion. If you make a mistake, make it long.
And just when you think they're shortening up their passing game, you can play them tight. We talked about it earlier. Montana will find something like that, give you the deep look, and you got to get conservative all over again.
Second and 10 from the 39. Early fourth quarter, 21-21 is the score. And the play clock ticks down. And there's no play. No play. Delay a game again against Kansas City.
Well, it's one of the problems.
Game, offense, prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's one of the problems in today, Frank, it's one of the problems in today's game of throwing the long pattern. The clock starts immediately, and your receiver's got to cover a lot of ground to get back to the huddle, then call a play, and then run it. That 40-second clock starts the minute that ball hits the ground.
Marty was upset with that. They know that.
You can't pull any Del Shofter routines, right, Frank? Second down and 10. And on the onside give. It's Kimball Anders back to the 31.
I think Mecklenburg read that pretty well.
I think so.
Today's Carl's 11th anniversary. Asked me to tell his wife Kathy he'll be home later, but he had to work on his anniversary.
Can I tell my wife Kathy happy anniversary tomorrow?
I guess you can.
In case I can't get it in later.
You had to work tonight too.
Well, it's almost Eastern.
3rd down and 18 from the 31-yard line. Great protection, drops it off to Walker underneath, but the Broncos are there to stop him at the 40-yard line, led by Darryl Hall, who did it without John Oates. 4th down.
Oh, Al.
Just wanted to see if you're paying attention.
Yes,
Well, that delay of game penalty, you think about it, changes the whole complexion of what you can do offensively. And just when Kansas City desperately needed a drive, they're going to have to punt.
Louis Aguiar, Glenn Milburn to receive it. Fair catch called for, and it's a 46-yard punt and a fumble. And
That's got to be Kansas City.
well, it is Kansas City.
Boy, that's a second muff punt, and it ends up being recovered this time by Kansas City.
It is coming up with the football, Greg Minuski.
That's the second muff of the game by Milburn. He covered his own earlier. That time it got away, and Minuski came up with it.
He has a history of bobbling the football on the punts.
Milburn fumbled 5 punts last season. This year he fumbled 1 in Denver or in Seattle last week, and 2 tonight, even though in effect it's simply a muff.
Already within field goal range.
Statistically, a muff is not a fumble, but
Right.
that's one time statistics lie. At the 12-yard line, Montana for the end zone, too high. Burden, J.J. Burden was there. And it's 2nd down and 10. Let me correct myself. I said a muff is a fumble. It counts as a fumble. That's the second one he's made tonight. Off his face mask.
When you don't have possession, it's a muff. If he would have attained possession of the football and then fumbled it, it's obviously a fumble. That is a muff, and that's also a very critical error for the Denver Broncos. Their first turnover of the night.
2nd and 10. Marcus slices his way to the 9-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6, maybe 7, at the 10-yard line. So key play coming up here. 11:05 to go in regulation. Montana looking at he wants the plays to come in more quickly.
Well, he wants an option at the line of scrimmage to change it.
3rd down and 7. Allen sets up in the slot. Joe, and the receiver goes down in the end zone, and there is no flag. J.J. Burden goes down, looked around, but there was no contact.
Well, I think it's just a case of getting your feet tangled up. If it's inadvertent, it is not a penalty.
Randy Hilliard had the coverage.
Take a look at it. Right, watch the feet. Yeah, right there. He got his heel caught and went down, and that's a very good non-call by the officials.
And good positioning on the part of Hilliard.
Yep.
27-yard field goal attempt upcoming now to put KC on top. Lynn Elliott's kick is wide.
And the happiest guy in this stadium is Glenn Milburn.
Who couldn't pay for that kind of promotion.
No.
From the 20-yard line. The Broncos, it's a little shovel pass to Leonard Russell. And it's a 4-yard gain as Leonard Russell gets taken down by Phillips. And let's take a look at the high snap on what turned out to be an errant 27-yard attempt. That's Valerio is the punt snapper, but Villa is the short snapper.
Watch the nose of the football. It's leaning forward. The spot by Aguiar. He actually has the nose the top of the ball leaning forward, and that is an awkward position. There's Danny Villa, who
we showed in slow motion, Dan. That was high, and it was just bad coordination between everybody.
2nd and 6. Russell up to the 28. 9:55 to go. And just to reset the game in perspective, Broncos 0-4 to start the year, win last week, trying to get it turned around. They go to San Diego. A win tonight gives them a little momentum. Kansas City 3-0 to begin, trying to avoid a 3rd straight loss, trying to prove to everybody and prove to themselves they are a Super Bowl contending team.
And on top of all that, the Chiefs have not won here since 1982. And Marty Schottenheimer has never won here, either with the Browns or with the Chiefs.
11 straight KC losses at Mile High. 3rd and 3. Elway with a lot of time, and the pass is gunned incomplete, but a flag goes down. Cedric Tillman.
Well, there was a full-blown tackle on Tillman as the ball was coming in. Dale Carter, I believe, was the Kansas City Chiefs player there.
Illegal contact foul, number 34, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think he was bumping Tillman past the 5-yard limit. You have man-for-man coverage, top of your screen. There's one grab. There's another one. Can't use those hands, and they're going to call it every time.
No. They've tightened that baby down. 5 yards and 5 yards only. Tremendous protection afforded John Elway on that play.
.9:16 remaining in regulation.
Is there a helicopter flying by here somewhere?
I hope so. 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Here's Russell, who picked up 103 yards on the ground at Seattle last week. He's tackled by Neil Smith. 2nd and 7 at the 35. Miller in motion. Away, and down he goes. The ball is loose at the 30, but Denver maintains possession as Pelham McDaniels created the fumble, and the Broncos were able to recover at the 30-yard line as Brian Habib saves it.
Well, and John comes up limping. There is a limit to how long you can hold the football and remain in the pocket without taking off and going on the move. John Elway is in the pocket. He has been there for a long time, and the blow comes from behind by McDaniel. And I think of more importance is the fact that Elway is noticeably limping.
3rd and 12 from the 30. Elway gingerly retreats and then throws, and is lucky that one wasn't picked off.
Boy, was he hit.
He was popped by Collins, and the pass was nearly intercepted by Vaughn Booker, the defensive end.
Well, boy, what a good call by Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator. Knowing Elway is limping, he's hurt from the last sack. He sends Mark Collins on a safety blitz. Elway is not going to even move. He's going to try to get rid of the ball, and you're not going to see Elway in that coming up like he did limping, trying to run out of that pocket. A good defensive call.
There is not an abundance of mercy in this league.
Tom Ruin to kick. Dana Hughes back to get it. The kick is 41 yards, taken at the 29 by Hughes. And a 3-yard return to the 32-yard line. Montana, Elway, premier attraction tonight, premier pairing, and there it is. Joe 256, John 191. Each has thrown 2 touchdowns, and Montana threw an interception, which led to a Denver score.
But you know, Montana threw it 55 times last week, already 41. That's far more than Marty Schottenheimer was. Here goes number 42.
Yep, from the 32-yard line, the play begins, and it's Walker who gets open, the tight end again, who's becoming a favorite target, to the 46-yard line. That's a 23-yard pickup. Again, Keith Cash is hurt, is out for a month and a half, maybe longer, and Walker's going to see a lot of action. And 6 catches for him tonight.
Once again, Montana just doing it so, making it look so easy, just staying alive until the receiver uncovers.
Need the Bee Gees to sing that one. He does it. You're right, and it's just subtle movements. It's not all-out sprints. It's just having such a precise feel for where everyone is around him.
First down at the 45. 6:45 to go. The game is tied. Swings it out to Hill, and Hill with a burst of speed inside the 30 and a roll to a halt at the 23-yard line. Atwater finally stops him, the rookie, with a big gain.
Slowly but surely, they're
working into this offense.
They're bringing the kid along.
The little flood pattern, 2 wide receivers on the right. He floods out to the right. Montana puts it right in there for him, and then he has that burst of speed that they like so much at Kansas City.
And when he's in there, Marcus is on his bench.
If Greg Hill plays in this league for 10 years, he'll always look back to his rookie year when he had a chance to tutor under the incomparable Marcus Allen.
He loves him. Montana has now thrown for 300 yards. And more as it's caught by Tracy Green, and the Grambling rookie makes it 1st and goal at the 4.
Well, Montana had 41 attempts at the start of this drive. I guess I see why. Completing them at this pace and for this much success.
Another great read by Montana. They double cover the outside men, try to cover Green with a linebacker. Actually, nobody near Green.
I was going to say, it's a pretty
6'5", 280-pounder.
Tough to miss him wide open, isn't it?
Joe, 320 tonight. Allen back in the game. He's the tailback in the eye, a la USC days. Takes it. Gets about halfway to the goal line at the 2-yard line. Flag down. Flag at the 4.
This is against Kansas City. I think we've got a holding call. Boy, I hate to see a holding call if you're an offensive coach on a running play.
Holding number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
I hate to even mention who this is. Not many times you get the trifecta. That's the 3rd holding call tonight on Zach.
Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator. And Marty has watched his team flagged a dozen times tonight. They're pretty close to it.
After that last field goal by Elliott, I'm not so sure that Marty wants to see that happen again.
1st and goal. Joe off his back foot throws. It's Marcus Allen, takes it down to the 6-yard line. Hasselback that time got in on Montana to drop him, but it will be 2nd down and goal now at the 6.
You know, Frank, that was really, really good stuff.
I mean, it's so good. You want to keep your mouth shut.
You
feel
do.
Like you're just using too many superlatives, but just sliding, slipping, moving, and then, I mean, so calm. He knows he's going to get hammered. I love to watch it, frankly.
That's his wife and his daughter. That's Jennifer. She's into it.
Marcus Allen. And he's rolled down at the 1.5 by Randy Hilliard. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Clock stopped for the moment. 4:17.
Well, we're marveling at Montana and the old Warrior, the old Trojan, breaking to the outside, giving it everything, pump faking it a little bit.
If Denver can come up with one play and force Kansas City to kick the field goal, this is the time to do it.
3rd and goal. Valerio lines up as an eligible receiver on the right side. He's already caught one tonight. Joe throwing into the back of the end zone. No! And a flag is down. Derek Walker.
And this is Jerry Markbright who threw the flag, and he's going to call a holding against Kansas City. Whoa, boy.
Montana wanted to throw that ball to Allen, but he was well covered.
The referee's responsibility is to look at the right tackle and the quarterback. Let's see if Jerry strayed.
Holding number 73, offense. Penalties declined, 4th down.
That's Valerio who lined up as the eligible receiver.
Joe Valerio was the tight end to that side. Walker was on the ground, and still Montana delivered a perfect pass that should have been caught.
Walker a little off balance. He had slipped.
The penalty declined. Villa will snap it again. The last one was a problem. Aguiar will hold it. Elliott will kick it. It's a 19-yarder, and the kick is good. Well, John Elway has done his magical work so many times in the fourth quarter in these situations. He'll have to do it again.
Sure, we have a graphic illustrating how many times he has brought this team back.
He doesn't seem to be terrorized at the prospect of having to do it either.
Yeah, well, you have the two masters. These two and Marino are the greatest when it comes to the fourth quarter comebacks and other things as well, as the kick is taken by Butler by Note, and he brings it back to the 20-yard line. 3:58 remaining in regulation. There it is, most game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. In other words, the winning team takes the lead for the final time. Marino at 35, Elway and Montana each with 26, and somebody will make it 27 tonight. DeBurg and Esiason right there, and Jaworski had 23.
Notice that since 1975. That's thus a lot of modern era quarterbacks on there.
First down, last 20 seasons counting this one. Here is Elway gunning it to Sharp. He breaks a tackle by Thomas. And he's out of bounds at about the 28. Dale Carter with the stop.
Well, Shannon Sharp was hobbled early this season with a bad knee. I think that he's over that. I think Shannon knows he's over that. He has shed the brace, and that was pretty nifty work there, evading a tackle.
And he's still doing it with painful ankle. He takes a shot at that ankle for every game. Again, he's big, about 230 pounds, and yet has the great moves of a wide receiver.
3 catches for Sharp tonight for 43. Russell breaks it back to the other side. Flag is down. That's a wonderful tackle by Whitmore to adjust on the play, but a marker.
I think the problem might be that there was a tackle by the Denver offense.
Or reasonable facsimile thereof.
We have seen the flags tonight.
Yeah, we have. And that one hurts Denver.
Holding number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Dave Weidel, the center. The 21st penalty of the game. An even dozen for the Chiefs. 3/4 of that for Denver. The season high so far in this young 1994 season was 24. Kansas City, Atlanta. Our producer Kenny Wolf says it. Comes in my ear and then out my mouth.
You're a regular Jerry Mahoney.
Oh yeah.
Here's Elway out of bounds at the 25-yard line. You're not old enough to remember Jerry Mahoney.
Oh, I like this other one.
I knew Jerry Mahoney when he was a kid.
You knew Jerry Mahoney was made out of paper. What was the other dummy he had? Yeah, that was my favorite. He had Jerry Mahoney, and then he had another one, like Knucklehead or
Knucklehead Smith.
Was that it? Yeah. It wasn't Knucklehead. Was it?
Oh yeah,
it was Knucklehead. All right. All right. Always trust your instinct.
Absolutely. 3rd down and 5 at the 26-yard line for the Broncos. 3:37 remaining in regulation.
Call me a dummy again, and I'll knock you off your chair.
Second. Well, they initially showed blitz, and then all of a sudden we've got another whistle. Last year when these two teams met, the Broncos were penalized 14 times, including 7 for false
Delay
starts.
game on the offense.
Oh.
5-yard penalty. Third down.
Boy, another penalty on this drive against the Broncos. A holding call and now a delay of game, and yes, that will cause a head coach to anguish.
It's supposed to ease the play calling process, this helmet speaker, and tonight we're seeing both teams having a difficult time getting the play in on time.
3rd and 10 from just outside the 20. 4-man rush. Elway steps up, throws on the run. Milburn makes the catch, and he gets to midfield. Stopped by Jaime Fields. The Broncos are at the 50.
I don't know how close John Elway
He
was
was
going
very
across
close.
the line, but he had to be right on it.
Great sense of where he is also. Don Elway right at the line of scrimmage. Came very close to going over it before he delivered that ball to Milburn.
Watch Derek Thomas. He comes so close to getting John Elway. Again, Elway showing more speed than people think he has left.
1st and 10 at the 50. Over the middle, Shannon Sharpe. He loses the football, and the Kansas City Chiefs have it at the 41-yard line.
I thought they were going to rule he was down.
George Jamison recovers it.
You know, there wasn't an official anywhere near Shannon Sharpe. Oh, and he is distraught. Oh, Shannon Sharpe is just beside himself.
Trying to stretch out for extra yardage. Oh, he loses it.
The ball is loose.
Good call by the official, and Shannon Sharpe is disrupted.
Jaime Fields creates the fumble. And then George Jamison recovers it.
It was awful close to being down, but with the aid of super slow-mo, you could see the ball did come loose.
Yep. Just imagine that. The officials don't have that either.
Yep.
Good call.
It would have been confirmed even with replay in effect, though. It would have been Kansas City's ball at the 41-yard line. And now Denver has to start thinking about conserving the clock. Allen goes nowhere. And the ball is loose, and Denver has it. Carl Mecklenburg comes up with the football. Can you believe that?
Believe it, I didn't even see it. I did not see Marcus Allen fumble the ball. All right, let's take a look. There's Marcus, 32. He just takes the handoff.
Runs into his own man.
Oh, and there's the football. And Carl Mecklenburg falls right on top of it. You could see the ball fell on the other side of the pile.
He ran into the back of Tracy Green, and Elway doesn't even know the snap is coming. He's lucky he didn't fumble that, and Milburn turns it into a nice gain to the 32-yard line.
Boy.
John wasn't ready for the snap.
They turned something ugly into something great.
Well,
John was getting ready to talk to one of his backs or one of his linemen. He was not aware that that ball was going to be snapped. Let's take a look again. Now he's looking over the defense, and all of a sudden, here's the ball. What have I got?
What a
great look in his eyes.
What a great shot. 2nd and 3 from the 32. Here's Russell. Powers his way just inside the 30 and close to a first as we come to the 2-minute warning.
Never will you see anyone more surprised than John Elway.
How about scared?
Right
What's those
here.
eyes right here.
Luckily, it was a very slow and kind of a fat snap back from Dave Widell. Well, we have seen just about everything in this ball game right here.
In case you just came home, turned that on. He handled off to Milburn, and he picked up 7 yards.
Well, here's a huge play. 3rd and inches at the 29. 2 minutes to go. Chiefs up by 3, and we've got contact and movement, and Thomas came across and wasn't induced is the question.
Whoa.
Oh, and then what's going on here?
Well, John sort of precipitated that. You can't really blame Jamison for tackling John Elway.
Well, I think there was a lot of indecision on the officials' part, you know, as well as
I didn't hear a whistle
the play
myself.
stopped. No, I didn't hear a whistle either.
We have the defense offside, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Derek Thomas was way across the ball. The unabated to the quarterback part of it means that they just call it dead right there. That way the guy doesn't get a free shot on the QB. And that is an easy way to give Denver a first down.
Derek obviously, there was a little flinch to his inside. You saw that. McCall flinching, and that brought Derek Thomas offside.
Each team with all of its timeouts remaining from the 24-yard line. Elway throws. The catch is made by Anthony Miller, and he is out of bounds. And a flag goes down after the hit at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, Miller was out of bounds.
David Whitmore hit him late.
Well,
The official rules that he hit him out of bounds.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on number 41 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, let's take a look at it and see how far out of bounds Anthony Miller was.
That's Whitmore. I'll tell you, they're calling this so close this year. Boy, that's tough.
Yeah, that is pretty tough. Wasn't really a devastating blow. Nonetheless, half the distance to the goal line. That puts us up pretty close, Kenny, doesn't it, to that 24 penalties?
It's first and goal at the 5. Now, Elway's been here a couple of times this year. The ball slipped out of his hand against San Diego, slipped out of his hand against Buffalo. What's going to happen here? He gives it to Russell, and he goes nowhere. Simeon makes the tackle. And Kansas City now takes a timeout because the Chiefs have to think about taking all the time they can off the clock. The Broncos have a chip shot field goal at worst and a touchdown at best, and what they're going to try to do, Denver, is just take as much time off the clock as they can. So KC has to stop it here. Meanwhile, we talked about Elway and what's happened on opening night against San Diego after they'd had a big lead and then they tried to come from behind. John had this ball slip out of his hand. It was ruled a fumble. Junior Seau came up with it. That preserved San Diego's win. Then on a Monday night a couple of weeks back in Orchard Park, New York, there's John on a wet night. It was raining, the ball slipping out of his hand on a 4th down play, and that was that in Buffalo.
And notice what they try to do with John Elway, and of course with any good athletic, good running quarterback, you give them an option. You give them on a rollout, you give them an option to run or throw the ball, and don't be surprised if they come back with that very same play. It's what they like to use down inside the 10-yard line. Give Elway the little roll, give him the option to look over a couple of receivers or run the football.
Second down, goal at the 4. 24-21, Kansas City, 1:41 to go. Shannon Sharpe in motion. Fake bootleg. Throws back in the end zone. He caught it. Touchdown. Cedric Tillman.
A lot of time remaining, but a great effort on the part of the Broncos. Kansas City saying no, he was out of bounds. He got hit, and that took him out of bounds, unable to get both of his feet down inbounds, but
The Chiefs.
that's the reception.
It's still being discussed. It's still being discussed in the back of the end zone.
Well, one official signaled touchdown, and there was the hit by Whitmore that knocks him out of bounds. It looked from that angle like he would have come down with his foot in bounds.
That's the whole thing. Now, Mark Bright with the back judge.
This isn't over yet. This is not over yet.
Oh, I think he would have got it down.
Yeah. Tom Sifferman is the back judge.
Well, that'll be a tough one to take away.
This is going to be a
This is a rather anticipated announcement.
moderately important announcement.
The man that caught the pass went out of bounds and returned. The
Wow.
pass is illegally caught.
He was
It's
out
a
of
loss
bounds
of
before that.
down.
Oh, that's
Second down.
a loss of down penalty. So they're saying prior to the reception, Tillman went out of bounds somewhere in the end zone, in the back
He
of
went
the
out
end
of
zone.
the end zone.
And then so it was. They weren't even talking about the end of the play. Here it is, though. We do have it. Once you're out, you can't
We
come
do
back.
have it. Here is Tillman right here. Follow him into the back of the end zone. Watch his right foot right there. He is out of the end zone.
Mark Collins pushes him out of bounds, no question.
And then he comes back in and catches the
First
ball.
Timeout, Denver. 40-second timeout.
What a wonderful job of officiating, catching the fact that he went out of bounds before he caught the ball. John Elway incensed.
And aided out of bounds by Collins.
Again, take a look at Cedric Tillman right here. His feet are out of bounds. And then he moves across over here and catches the pass from John Elway. But he is standing on the white. Boy, and give a double thumbs up to Jerry Markwright's crew for catching that. Here's another angle. All right, there's Collins.
Yep, illegal contact.
Yeah, he's shoving Tillman. There's no question that's... You can't argue the fact that Tillman was out of bounds. You can make a valid argument that Collins should have been flagged for illegal contact as well.
Absolutely.
That argument was being made.
Oh, yeah.
Had to have been.
But the official, not calling Collins to begin with, sees that he's out of bounds and takes it from there.
Right. It's 3rd down and goal after all this from the 5.
Denver's missing a man. They have 10 men in the field, I think.
And the play clock is down to 5. And Elway on a quarterback throw with a flag down. There's another flag down back at the 8-yard line.
If they didn't have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, if the missing man was a guy who was supposed to be on the line, it's an illegal formation.
You need at least 7, and Wade is saying I had 7.
You do not have to have 11 players. You just have to have 7 on the line of scrimmage.
You're exactly right.
And those are the gestures being made by Wade Phillips. What a bizarre.
Oh, this is
finish.
incredible.
My initial reaction is that they have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. It looks to me like they've covered off both of the offensive tackles, which is what you have to do. You got your 5 interior guys, and both tackles have to be covered off, and the officials rule properly.
They had 7 on the line,
Yep.
and it's a touchdown.
Yep. You can go with only 8 guys, a quarterback and 7 people on the line of scrimmage, and still have a legal formation.
And now the Broncos for the extra point. Elam to kick it. And this is a significant point after, because it turns a 3-point lead into a 4-point lead. That means the Chiefs have to get into the end zone. So Elway on the quarterback draw. And Jason Elam to the point after with 1:29 to go.
Okay, first of all, Denver only had 10 men. Okay, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, here are the 5 guys up front, but they're covered off here. They're covered off here on the line of scrimmage. It is a legal formation, even though there are only 10 guys on the field for the Broncos.
It was
So
a
while
draw
they-
play all the way. There was no question about that.
Yeah, and you know, there is a sense of justice here, because Mark Collins is not flagged for the illegal contact. Denver has a touchdown taken away, and they get it right back.
With a lot of time for Kansas City remaining.
But with a 4-point lead by the Broncos now, Kansas City has to get in the end zone.
You come to Denver, and we've had some of the wildest Monday night games ever in this stadium. And here's another one.
The snowball game.
Yeah, the Raiders erased a 24-point lead.
Game. Once again, Marty Schottenheimer victimized by a fumble. One time here, it was Ernest Biner with the Cleveland Browns. Not the same. That was a playoff game. This time, Marcus Allen, when it looks like they've got the game pretty much in hand, the fumble by Allen gave Denver life.
1:29 and 3 timeouts, and that's an eternity for Montana.
Everybody on their feet.
2 timeouts for Kansas City. 2. Elam to kick off. 13-yard line. Dickerson brings it back out to the 26-yard line. Schottenheimer and Montana in Mile High. It's been a house of horrors. Halloween is 2 weeks away, but this has been the haunted house for Marty. with Cleveland and with Kansas City. 0-6 during the regular year, 0-1 in the playoffs. And Joe, as we mentioned before, 0-3 here. Twice with San Fran and once as a Chief. Bronx by 4. First down at the 25. The play shaking. Marcus. And Atwater nearly takes his head off, and Allen is out to the 32-yard line.
Somehow Marcus stayed on his feet after that necktie job by Steve Atwater.
Gain of 7. Second down and 3 at the 32.
All right, the way Denver likes to play defense, let everything happen in front of you. You got the 2 killer safeties and Smith and Atwater. Let them come up and make the big hits.
They give it to Marcus. And figuring he has room through the middle, he takes it out to the 43, and that's a first down. Elijah Alexander with the tackle. And Kansas City takes a timeout. So 1:08, and they have 1 timeout remaining.
Boy, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't have tried to get to the line of scrimmage in a hurry and run a play. Tough to put yourself in a situation here with 1:08 left and you're down to your last timeout. You're going to have to burn the clock. It's going to have to run between plays. It seems a running play like that is the time that you can get to the line of scrimmage quickly, more quickly than other times, and run the play.
Well, you're not going to be able to throw the ball in the flat and run a draw play because you need a touchdown, not a field goal. You're going to have to put it up in the air. You're going to have to put it downfield.
It's not like our cameramen are terrific as always. This joint is shaking, so occasionally your picture shakes because the building is shaking.
It'd be difficult for Montana to change the play at the line of scrimmage. And this is why.
What a wild scene this is.
First and 10 at the 43. 1:08 to go. Joe to Walker, and he gets into Denver territory to the 49-yard line. Out of bounds, 1:03. Darrell Hall rode him out.
Boy, that only took 5 seconds.
Second and 2.
How's it feel, John? Somebody else is working on
this crowd.
doing your deal.
Collectively caught their breath for a moment, but they'll be back as soon as Kansas City breaks the huddle.
If you have any sense of history about this league, watching Elway and Montana do their thing tonight, good stuff.
On second and 2, off the fake, Joe steps up, drops it off over the middle. Anders very close to a first down to the 47-yard line, but the clock keeps going, and KC wants to conserve its final timeout.
That is a first down.
At the 47-yard line, they move the sticks.
They need something big.
And Joe swings it out far side. It's dropped. Incomplete.
Just as well.
Anders.
That's really a break for Kansas City that Anders drops that ball. After he juggled it once, he might as well drop the thing because he wasn't going to go anywhere with it, and the clock would have kept running.
Joe is 30 of 50 for 346 yards.
What is he, 37 of 55 last week?
He's thrown 105 passes in the last 2 ball games.
Not what they want out of this offense.
And more to come. Second and 10 at the 47. 36 seconds remaining. Montana to a wide open Anders. And Anders gets out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's a first down. 29 seconds.
Ooh, did that missed tackle by Randy Hilliard hurt? That hurt.
Could have kept them in.
Yep. Now, granted, there's still a long way to go and only 29 seconds to go to get there, but keeping Anders in bounds would have really aided Denver's cause.
Well, Hilliard goes 165 pounds. Anders is 230.
Yeah, but that's a whiff.
Yep.
He didn't trample him. That's a whiff.
Could have kept him in, and it wouldn't have been a first down. From the 36, Walker in motion. Joe pump fake and then finds the safety valve. It's Walker. He's got another first down, and he's out of bounds at the 24 with 20 seconds. Bradford with the tackle. This is amazing.
Kind of glad you're here.
I'm just glad to be here. You're right, Frank.
Good look downfield. He wanted something deep.
Again.
Saw the coverage. His man slipped, went to his knees, and Montana did a Montana.
That's a long time to let him stand there.
20 seconds remaining. Joe over the middle to the tight end, Green. He takes it to the 5-yard line. To the rookie, Green. They have a timeout left, and they take it here. First and goal. Well, I'll tell you, when it takes your breath away at 5,280 feet, it really takes your breath away.
Tracy Green, the rookie from Grambling. Marty Schottenheimer told us this past summer this youngster has an opportunity to become a great football player. An offensive lineman at Grambling.
But look at the alleyway, Frank.
No rush at all, as
No
I said
rush.
before, but look at Green, looking the ball right into the chest. Big target, not considered a deep threat by the Denver defense, and so he was wide open.
Let's set this baby up. They're going to have to throw the ball here. They don't have time to run the football and not get in and run another play. So Montana's got time to throw the ball twice, and so he'll have to throw it into the end zone. And it's a real risky throw to throw a flare pass here and hope that his guy runs it into the end zone. He's almost forced to throw it into the end zone itself or take a big chance that whomever he throws it to is going to break a tackle and get into the end zone.
Whoever that you're talking about 32, if he's going to put it in the flat, he's going to be to Marcus Allen.
But he's going to have to break a tackle and get in, because I don't think with 13 seconds.
Or take it out of bounds.
Double tight end set.
He'll look for the end zone.
First and goal. He puts Walker in motion. He throws to the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown by Davis.
What a
Willie Davis, unbelievable.
Effort by Willie Davis.
Lord, you can take me now. I've seen it all.
Ben Smith with the coverage. Davis makes a great catch, just gets into the end zone. The throw is right there. Amazing.
Did this lived up to the billing? Elway doing his thing. Montana coming back doing his. And Willie Davis with one of the great efforts you'll ever see by a receiver.
Again, what killed Denver was their lack of a pass rush. That is as sweet a catch as you will see.
That's
We
a lot
talked
tougher
about
than regular
it
speed.
all drive. No pressure by Denver on Montana at all. Guys, you know you just can't let him stand there like that.
Willie
He's too
Davis
good.
was on the practice squad of this team for 2 years. Went to minicamp with the Giants in '91. They turned him loose, and he was the leading receiver for them a year ago, and he just made a spectacular catch.
Well, he's been taking some heat because he's dropped some balls, but they'll forget about every drop now. Great catch, great presence of mind to put it into the end zone.
And awesome pass protection by the Kansas City offensive line all game long. Your heart breaks for the Denver Broncos. It really does. But Kansas City appears to be off the snide.
And Marcus says to Willie, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, he does.
And for Marty Schottenheimer, after coming in here and losing some of the most excruciating games imaginable, to win it like this,
Let's celebrate it.
well, it almost makes up for all of the rest. I mean, to win a game like this, the others recede very deep into the memory bank. Lynn Elliott to kick it off. The clock starts when a Bronco touches it. 8 seconds. So maybe a small run back and one Hail Mary. And they call for a fair catch. So it's Jeff Campbell taking it to the 24 to give Elway as much time as possible. And now John with one last gasp.
I guess it was Montana's 106th pass of the last 2 weeks that was the one that really did it. What did he do? 55 and then 51.
They put a second back on the clock. Originally it ticked down to 8 or 7, and they put the 8th second back up.
Hail Mary coming up, obviously looking for the penalty and an opportunity to kick a field goal.
Hey, I went to Michigan. I know the game's not over.
I'm just thinking the same thing. Colorado knows about miracles.
No kidding.
Well, not even close. They send it out to the 38-yard line.
Well,
and they have a
take it
timeout, and they take it with 1 second. So Elway throws it over the middle to Cedric Tillman.
Well, they were too far away for him to actually get the ball into the end zone. From this range.
Well, they're looking for the foul also.
Yeah, John's going to get it down there somewhere inside the 10 or the 5.
And it is crazy to think about that Colorado-Michigan game.
Wouldn't this be the ending?
Yeah, that would be the ending of all endings.
The mother of all endings.
And the father. 61 yards away. 31-28. The problem the Broncos have right is with only 1 second left. Well, you know, even if they put a second back up there with a pass interference call, they could be in field goal range, but
game cannot end on a penalty against the defense.
If a Chief commits pass interference, he's not going home on the charter tonight. And Elway has the ball stripped from him, and the game will end on a fumble and a recovery. Darren Mickle stripped it, and that will do it. Vaughn Booker comes up with it, and that is the end of one of the great games in the annals of Monday Night Football. That was a classic.